Okay, I think YouTube likes us. I hope. Yes, yes, it does. Hey, YouTube. Hey, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Smudcast number 93. Oh, and this time we're looking at a similar topic with a different YouTuber, and that is Ready Player One, the movie. And we're looking at Just Right. Good old Just Right. He's never fails to deliver on something. We're not sure what he delivers on. It's never perfect. Sometimes he gets a lot of stuff wrong, but it's always a weird conclusion. That's what
we don't know what it is, but it's something. That's all we know. That's all we'll ever know at this point.
Yeah, it's his reasoning, it's his facts, it's his conclusions. We don't know. It's something along the lines. And that's fine. Like, no one's perfect. I just want to get at least one thing right one time and then just focus a video just on that. I think that would be more than enough just to get all your facts right, or all your logic right, or your references right, or your books right, or whatever. Just don't go off on crazy, like, drawing diagrams. And I think he broke apart, what was the last video we did with him? We broke apart the sequence of a murder mystery story and interposed it with what the hell was that? Not a whodunit, horror film, and then back to a murder mystery story. I was like, that's, you don't switch genres and try to be successful at it. You try to blend them so that there's one continuous through line in a story, not a jump in technique. It's not the best way to tell a story. You don't go from romance to horror and then back to romance unless, I don't know, you're trying to scare your 4-year-old nieces and nephews at a ghost story or something. I don't know. Anywho, we're gonna be waiting on, who are we waiting on? I think Voice on the Radio, maybe. Who is it? LiteratureDevil? We're not sure. I couldn't make the. What were you guys watching on Sunday again? Episode 4, episode 5 of Lower Decks?
Episode 5, yeah, of Lower Decks.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, I missed it. I really because apparently that was a really bad episode. And
it's not quite as bad as episode 2, but it's, at this point, I would rank it episode 2, episode 5, episode 1, and then the one which it was the episode 4, I think, and then episode 3, because episode 3 was the really meh one that nothing happened.
The meh one? Oh, that's where, what's his name? The commander dude fights some dude on a planet, and they're using spears or something.
Yeah. Oh, that was it. Yeah.
His name was Jack. Interestingly enough, the guy who plays Jack Ransom, what the heck? He is played by Jerry O'Connell. If you guys don't know who Jerry O'Connell is, I don't know if he's a Canadian actor. I think he's American, but he played in some Canadian sitcoms back in the day. And he's known for being the superhero on My Secret Identity, which was I guess a kids or young adult show back in the 80s or 90s. I think it was the 90s, yeah. I actually have his autograph, a pictured autograph, just because I knew the producer or the director through a job I was doing, and I just happened to befriend this guy, and he's like, yeah, I produced these sitcoms on Showcase. We're like, what? Showcase? What's that? I never got Showcase as a kid, and then I found out it was a whole specialty TV station back in the 90s. Anyway, that sort of made me laugh, just because they're getting him or other, I wouldn't call them B-list celebs, but they're definitely up there in age. So, yeah. Lower Decks, what are we going to do? That's the last iteration of Star Trek I want to experience this year. John Lemley, thank you, sir. How you doing? Commander dude fights some dude on a planet. Isn't that basically what Star Trek boils down to? Fighting is another word for conflict. So, yes, you could say that there's always a conflict, that someone from the Federation is in conflict with someone from a planet, an alien. That's generally what you do with sci-fi stories or science fiction. Put people in interesting scenarios in alien environments with technology.
I think it's a bit more wider than just that, really. Unless you try and narrow it down to say the entirety of Star Trek is just Kirk versus the Gorn.
It's a good way of characterizing the Kirk version, or the original series version of Star Trek, at least. And if you look at Riker, if you look at Riker, he's pretty much Kirk, just a little slant pushed off to the side for the sake of, I don't know. What was Riker really doing on the Enterprise, aside from
chatting at women?
chatting with women and doing things that Picard wanted him to do?
He didn't like Jellicoe ruining everyone's fun.
Angelica was awesome. It's like, we need a guy to go in there and save Picard. It's like, get a hard-ass military dude to save the day. What does Jellicoe do? He saves the day. He goes home. Done. Mission solved.
Well, remember, Riker's like, but you're ruining everyone's fun. I don't feel like saving Picard right now.
Just awesome. That's exactly what the series... Every series, every show, every business model, even in business that we're talking about, you want to disrupt the business. You want to disrupt the story, the setting. The normalcy world has to be disrupted. That's what you do. Angelica was fantastic in that. He says, listen, we have one job, and that's to do X. If we're lucky, we can get Picard back, but that's not the whole goal. So that was what that's what you need. You need a leadership position to be taken over and have things turn on their head for a bit to see what really matters to the characters in a story. But yeah, what a great story. There's some really great stories in Star Trek. Sadly, Lower Decks is not really.
It's not one of them.
It's not even in the ballpark of stories worth telling. I don't even know if it fits in with the comedy category of worthwhile jokes and fun to be had. But yeah, that's what you get this year and past few years. Discovery, what have you. Anyway, 25 minutes. We better get started. Here we go.
In the mid-90s, screenwriter Ed Neumeier wrote a script called Bug Hunt at Outpost 9. By coincidence, the script bore some resemblances to Robert Heinlein's novel Starship Troopers, and so rather than producing the film as an original story, the studio decided to acquire the license to Heinlein's book and rewrite the script to be a direct adaptation because money.
So this is interesting. Heinlein wrote that story a long, long time ago. So this other fellow wrote something similar, which I'm sure he wasn't inspired by anyone else over the decades in the 90s. And they said, wait a second, why don't we just get the original one, which is kind of funny. So doesn't say much for the writer they were hiring, but, fine, whatever.
The guy they tapped to direct, Paul Verhoeven, however, disliked the book and claims to have read only 2 chapters. Because it was so boring, I just couldn't read the thing. It's a very right-wing book. Thus,
it is politically minded, but it's almost like a pulp. You're talking about Heinlein, so one of the grandfathers of science fiction. You either like his stuff in that pulpy way, or you don't. So,
okay,
but I wouldn't say it's.
I'm confused by the right wing book.
It's pro-military, obviously.
It is having a military story right wing?
Technically, no.
I don't think it's exclusively political. Like, you can only tell a war story or some kind of military story if you have a political mindset.
I guess in America, people who are right wing are generally pro-military. It kind of goes without saying, though, that everyone.
Let's say, a military stories like Clone Wars. That's not right wing, or the creators behind Deep Space Nine weren't right wing. They were just people telling war stories.
Yeah,
about militaries and stuff, and fighting and death and war.
Yeah, but this is the Hollywood mentality. So, it's not aligned with
that is true.
It's not working with my politics, So here's John Lemley again.
There's war in there. It's right wing.
Yeah, well, anything there's something wrong, it's like this feels like it's done by a right winger, or what have you. Here's John Lemley again. Punished just right. A man denied his potential. Ooh, there's a interesting subtitle that just pops up on that. We should have these subtitles pop up on the screen. Picture of just right. Title and subtitle. I don't know why the Japanese like doing that, but they do. And John Lemley again, a very right-wing book, The Man Who Directed Showgirls. Yeah, well. Nothing wrong with Showgirls. Still haven't seen that flick, but I'll keep my memory of Saved by the Bell as PG-13 as possible. Anywho.
A book that unapologetically promoted fascism has a movie adaptation that satirizes and purposefully contradicts the themes of its own source material. So why bring that up in a video about Ready Player One?
Because the book had a lot of terrible themes and needed a Starship Troopers style overhaul.
So he doesn't like the themes of Mr. Ernie's book. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to like a book. That's totally fine.
Now, fans of the book may be thinking, well, hold on a second, the movie did change stuff. A whole lot of stuff, actually. And yes, the Steven Spielberg film is an adaptation that is only faithful to the source material in the broadest strokes. Much of the same stuff happens in the book as it does in the movie, sure. In both stories, our protagonist, Wade Watts, escapes his miserable trailer park life by going into a virtual reality video game called The Oasis. The deceased creator of the game has left behind a series of clues to an Easter egg, and whoever finds it will inherit his vast fortune and control over the game world. Wade teams up with a few other game players, including a girl named Artemis, who he allegedly falls in love with despite having never met her, and they battle against a corporation that wants to take over the Oasis, led by the nefarious Nolan McEvilface. And while much of the plot has been truncated and a lot of the
I'm
references
confused by the whole
shuffled around
notion of never meeting, because I agree he's a bit too quick to jump the gun of falling in love with her, because he does it far too early. But I think the film points that out, even that he's kind of being a bit stupid, and that's not how things work. Even then, later down the line, he does actually meet her, and they do actually have a proper relationship. You can say that the relationship could be done better, but no, they do. I think in that aspect, at least, it's fine.
That's one of his properties, though. He's naive. He's not fish out of water. He's just sort of the new kid, and he's seeing his first crush. You can say that. I don't know. Hard to say exactly. There's not much depth to these characters in the movie, or let alone the book. So
yeah, they have the problem is things like character development or any kind of character depth is something that eludes the movie.
Yeah, it's honestly not in the book that much either. So it's. Ernest Cline is not trying to make this, excellent American novel. He's just trying to get it out the door with all his geeky references. So you see that even with Kurt Vonnegut. He doesn't spend too much time developing a character. He just gets to the next character and goes boom, boom, boom. So I'm not putting him on the same level as Vonnegut, but I'm saying that's not the point of the story.
Updated, the general spirit of the story remains intact. But many of the themes are altered. It's just not in the same way as Starship Troopers. Spielberg's adaptation doesn't directly refute its source material, or even really think about any of the problems of the source material. And the result was very successful. This movie made $582 million at the box office. Critics were generally soft.
Yeah, it's like a Transformers movie, essentially. It's lots of crazy, glitzy, glamoury stuff, and then no one ever wants to watch it again.
Mm-hmm. It's a disposable film, I suppose is the best way to put it.
Yeah, a summer blockbuster for munching on the popcorn, and then you just go gulp. That was tasty, and then you just go on with your life, I guess. I don't know. So here's Joe Crazy. Heinlein isn't right-wing. He was a libertarian. There's all kinds of wonderful backgrounds on all these sci-fi writers, whether you're talking about Harlan Ellison or Heinlein or Asimov. They all sort of chummed around together. And they were all from all different walks of life. They were really cool guys, as well as some of the women as well. So they were all this big camaraderie of people having a great time and arguing and sharing ideas. So
on it, and most audiences gave it a pass. But while the world seems to have moved on from the property that launched 1,000 listicles and think pieces, I'm not ready to. Because the implications of a lot of stuff in both versions of the story are just infuriating and depressing.
That's like saying, Transformers was infuriating and depressing because it was so vapid. It's like, well, it wasn't supposed to be anything more. It could have been so much. It's like, yes, it could have been anything else. That's true. Here's John Lemley again. Batman v Superman made more than Ready Player One. Is it better? It's more popular, but
I actually say this is better than Batman versus Superman.
really,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it's a lot more convoluted than Batman v Superman, and Batman v Superman is somewhat busy and messed up. But there's so much stuff happening in Ready Player One, very similar to Episode 9, really. There's just all this stuff, and it's just background noise, but you just accept it as that because you're in this virtual world. So you say, okay, fine, whatever. Same with all these special effects in Transformers. It's like all these ridiculous transformations of an arm becoming a door of a car. It's like, okay, that's not exactly how my toys back in the 80s operated, but you get the same idea. It's all for visual flair. So you just accept it. In this case, the whole Oasis is like that.
There's just so much stuff in here that defies any attempt at analysis. Like, what? What is that supposed to mean?
It's a reference.
Yeah, they're all references. Every single thing in the Oasis is a reference to pop culture.
They have like 7 in like that scene alone or something where they have like, even like the Clark Kent glasses of the like, making him look different and hiding him in public and such.
It's essentially this is an Ernie Klein book. If you don't know Ernie Klein, check out his other stuff. It's just geek extraordinaire. Everything possibly geeky, he'll throw it together. And the director saw that, went, okay, we're going to do that only in modern. So he just updated the book, and the book was like 10 years old or whatever. So just compound as many things as you can from video games and the 80s and the 90s, and just slam it in there.
I think it was an admirable attempt. I just don't think it's still. The ideas are there. I don't think it's just not very well executed. But I do like the fact they managed to get so many licenses on board for background references and such. Because references are nice, but when that's your entire... The problem is the film tries to rely too much on those references. Like, the entire appeal of the film is that those references are there.
This is similar to the Lego Star Wars films. The Lego Bat... What was that Lego film with Batman and all these other characters?
The Lego Movie?
The Lego Movie, there you go. Same idea. They take a reference, but they sort of twist it so there's Batman, but he's a different character. Or with Wreck-It Ralph, is like, oh, this is a video game, but there's a twist on it. So it's kind of, forget the twist, just throw in stuff from video game culture or geek culture. It's there. So, cool. They'd have to get all the licenses. Like, can you imagine how many licenses that Spielberg had to get? Can we have this? Can we have that? Because like,
well, yeah, I think it was difficult enough for Wreck-It Ralph to get things like Nintendo and such on board.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Nintendo are very protective of their property, and I think one of the things they had to do is make sure that they got Bowser exactly right to their specifications.
Yeah, pretty much asking, can we get your models for Bowser or whatever? It's like, no.
They made their own models for Bowser, but they wanted to make sure Bowser was entirely accurate, and they wouldn't let them go forward with the film unless he was completely accurate to their specifications.
Yeah, so you can get away with stuff in 3D just because it's possible, but imagine doing that with, I don't know, pick any other old franchise like Sherlock, or not Sherlock, but I don't know, any popular sitcom from the 90s, 80s. It just would have to be very, very expensive. And I don't know too many companies would be willing to part with that IP. So there'd have to be some really good deals going on with the like royalties or something like that. It's possible that Spielberg did that, gave some royalties out. So who knows? And here's Tyler Preston. Want a better Starship Troopers? Then play Halo and watch the anime Blue Gender. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. Or watch Roughneck Starship Troopers Chronicles. Okay, I've heard of Blue Gender. I haven't watched it though. I'm trying to remember what that was about. I'll have to Google that later. But yeah, thanks for the heads up there, Tyler. Joseph Kerwin, I just learned HBO is adapting the Poisonwood Bible. I don't know what that is. Do you think they'll butcher it? HBO? It really depends. If you said Netflix, I'd probably agree, but HBO could be hit or miss. It could be really, really good, or it could be garbage. So I don't know what the Poisonwood is. That a horror story? What is that? Has anyone heard of the Poisonwood Bible before? And Joseph, if you can, please tell us in the chat, because I'm curious. Anyway, let's keep going on.
Are you just using anything? Part 1. Plot changes. It took 7 years for this novel to get its adaptation, which, in the modern world of young adult fiction adaptations, is sort of a lifetime. It took 5 years to get a Maze Runner movie, 4 years to get a Hunger Games movie, and just 3 before Twilight and Divergent hit the big screen. And that's because Ready Player One is a difficult novel to adapt. It's not...
Yeah, who would take it, honestly? Aside from Spielberg, who the devil would do this properly? It's such an undertaking to get the budget to do all of the CGI, like an entire virtual world. You're making basically the Matrix just times 20. The entire world is CGI. The entire world is filled with all kind of zany references and characters and props and planes and cars and all sorts of silly things. Whereas the Matrix is actual people. You could do that with basic special effects and camera work. So it's a heck of a lot of work. I guess you could outsource to China, but that's, who knows what exactly happened there. But that's, again, hard to find someone to sell these idea to. Here's John Lumley again. Thank you, sir. Actually, don't play Halo. The trailer is about creating Aryans because people's eyes turn blue. Yeah, well.
Movie Bob.
Is that? Yeah.
I think that's what a Movie Bob's takes. It sounds like a Movie Bob take.
Because the super soldier serum turns him eyes blue for some reason. It's like, yeah, okay. Thanks, Movie Bob.
Well, it's not that it turns eyes blue. I think they just glow blue for a second.
Right. It just glows like there's something wrong with...
It's to signify this change.
Yeah, that doesn't even make chemical sense to me. But I do know people's eyes, their corneas can change colors under stress. When they're crying or something emotional is happening, I've seen that happen, but not in that way, not in the way that it was showcased on that trailer. So, not outside the realm of science fiction. Plus, I don't know why. I think this is just a popular thing, whether it's fantasy or science fiction. Whenever someone's evil or gains something or acquires something, their eyes light up, like they sparkle. It's more of a poetic thing. I've seen it a lot in stories where their eyes shine like stardust or something. It's like, oh, okay. Romanticized.
Not nearly as cinematic as its peers just listed, with long sections that would be totally uninteresting visually.
I passed on it the first time it was sent to me.
Watching a guy beat every level in Pac-Man is something for niche Twitch stream audiences, not the mass market. Their solution is to reinvent all of the central set pieces, including cutting the number of plot goals in half. In addition to the 3 keys, the characters in the book also needed to cross 3 gates, all of which had their own associated tasks, so the book literally had more MacGuffins than Infinity War. The movie simplifies matters by having just 3 keys leading directly to the egg, and by making the task required to get the keys more visual. This race and the extended remaking of The Shining are probably the 2 moments that most people will remember about this movie. There is also a huge overhaul of the substance of the tasks. Instead of Wade just needing to know more trivia or being better with a joystick than his opponents, the film makes the tests more character-based. It's all about learning more about the game's creator, James Halliday, slowly unraveling the secrets of his life. This is definitely a change for the better. It also means that there's far fewer scenes like the ones in the book where Wade is confronted with a problem and then proceeds to tell the reader exactly how he has already prepared for this random challenge and why it'll be a total cinch. Seriously, it's hilarious how often this happens. It's always, oh, I have to win at the 1982 video game Joust? Well, it sure is lucky I spent all summer playing that very game. I'm not making that up. That happens dozens of times. Later, in one of the climactic tests, he says, reenacting the film wasn't just easy, it was a total blast. I mean, who needs narrative tension anyway? It'd be if you were like reading Harry Potter and Harry said, and then Professor Lupin turned into a werewolf, but luckily I had learned a spell in Transfiguration that can make werewolves go to sleep. And
again, this is the style of the story. Comparing it to an epic like Harry Potter or this or that story is missing the point of the story. And you could say, well, he's like a Mary Sue. He knows everything. He happens to have a backup. He's prepared for all these things. He's a geek. This is the idea. He does insignificant, silly things in his geekdom, and they're video games or this or that. And he happens to be playing this virtual video game that has all these things in it. This is the kind of fantasy world that Ernie Klein wrote. You sort of figure that out really quickly. So yes, it's silly. It's kind of like, analyzing a joke or analyzing a farce. It's like, are they really clopping coconuts together in Monty Python? Is that really a thing? Like, come on, who does that? This is the kind of criticism we're having right now. It's like, we get it. It's supposed to be that way. That's the joke, or that's the point of the character.
I'd practiced it every single day 100 times for the past 6 years just in case this exact scenario happened. Like, put your setups before your payoffs. The movie has no trouble with this kind.
Okay, so again, if that's the argument, then there'd be dozens of setups that would take so long to set up, as he said, throughout the book. That's not the point. We're not trying to make a developed character. We're trying to have a guy who, I don't know, what was that movie? That Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Is it called Slim Dog Millionaire? I can't remember the exact title. But it's about this kid who happens to have the exact answer to all these questions on a game show. And they just can't believe he knows, like they think he's cheating because he knows and they're so obscure and so referential. And he happens to have a story with every single one. Slumdog Millionaire, there you go. That's the kind of story that is. And it's like, this is weird. This is kind of the same idea, only with geek culture and video games. So that's the idea behind it, at least as far as I understood the book. John Lemley, Ready Player One story, protagonist is a consumer and likes girl. That's it. Yeah, that's as complicated as it gets. He's a geek. He's in his own little world. He leaves his world, finds a girl in that world, or in a new world.
He's naive and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's very basic. It doesn't because it's basic. I don't expect it to be anything more than that. And Just Right's like, well, why is it like that? Why don't you have your setups before everything? It's like, it's not supposed to. It's not the kind of.
Oh, who just topped in?
So, why don't we have Transformers be a magnum opus about drama and saving friends and loved ones? It's like, well, it's not supposed to be that, But hey, Dunn, how you doing, buddy?
Sorry, I was on my own stream until I just barely cut it off so I could join you guys. Since I voted for this one, might as well come in.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, this is Just Right trying to argue that the vapidity of Ready Player One has problems, and we're like, yes, it does. That's fine, but you're missing the point. So I've seen this video a couple of times, so I know most of what he's arguing about. Yeah. So anyway,
yeah,
I don't mind when people are particular. You're particular for the wrong reasons, which happens to be a lot of these guys who think that horror films should be gay stories or homosexual closet moments. I don't know. It's just funny. Can't they accept popcorn munching movies for what they are and just go on with life? But okay. Here's John Lemley again.
Not trying to uphold like popcorn munching films is like the best cinema ever, or they don't have problems. It's more just when something's intended to be this certain way. So yeah, it could be better. It could have a lot more depth, and I don't think it's the best film ever. I think it's kind of poor if you look at it for more than 5 seconds. But it's kind of the way it is, and I don't think the film really matters at all, especially today. It's not relevant. If this film was coming out today, then sure, I would criticize it and all that shit, but it's not relevant today at all.
Here is John Lemley. Again, the Transformers series is a magnum opus of product placements. I don't know, is it? I haven't seen any in a long time.
There's a lot of product placement, especially in the later ones. It's the point where one of the characters even has a Bud Light beer, and there's a big crate of it that spills out into the street, and he picks it up. And this guy, he's on a spaceship that crashed into this guy's car, and he's like, "What, dude? Do you have insurance?" And he's like, "It's a spaceship. Do you think I have insurance?" And then he opens up the Bud Light on his car and drinks it, and it makes sure that you can see it's a Bud Light bottle, just in case you weren't acknowledgeable enough that it was Bud Light.
Yeah, like we're not going to argue that this is so silly, and therefore it could be better. It's like, no, we're going to laugh and call it a day because we don't care. It's not something worth analyzing for. Its message is pretty obvious there. So
beautiful visuals, though. Beautiful visuals.
Everything is set up before it pays off. You know, like a story. We see them get the thing before they use the thing, and we see them get the other thing before they use the thing. On the other hand, it does have entirely different setup payoff problems when it comes to the relationships between the characters, which we'll get to in a minute. They also beef up Ben Mendelsohn's role, which is great because Ben Mendelsohn is great, and I like that they basically invented some new characters to be his flunkies, played by Hannah John Kamen and some guy. So yeah, the goals of the screenplay were to simplify the amount of running around the characters had to.
So you got to get that T.J. Miller jab in there.
Why does he like T.J. Miller?
Because T.J. Miller choked out a girl and raped her in university or something.
Wait, what? Is this confirmed?
She came out recently. I don't know if it's been confirmed or not, but that's the reason why a lot of people on the left don't like T.J. Miller.
If that's true, holy shit! But don't. If there is no evidence for it, I'm not gonna actively, burn him at the stake for something there's no evidence for.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true or not, but that's the apparent. That's what they believe. I don't know what. I'll have to check. I'll have to check if there's been any confirmation, but that is like the reason that they give for why they don't like T.J. Miller.
Yeah, if he really did it, then he's a piece of shit. And if he didn't do it, then whoever made that up's a piece of shit. Someone's a piece of shit here.
Oh, that's a libel suit. We're waiting to happen. So either that's been cleared up by now, or it's not that big a deal. But that must have happened years ago because this video is a few years old. So,
supposedly, it's a 10-year-old accusation. At least, it's an action that came out 10 years ago, and it's being brought up. It was brought up a few years ago. Brought up sometime around the Deadpool 2, I think. I'll have to check.
Interesting. Okay, well, not a big deal.
The main problem is that the fact that so many people have made shit up just to get attention and popularity, it's hard to ever know if someone is actually telling the truth about these things, and these things are actually very serious.
Here is John Lemley again. I didn't know this was a review about The Thing. The way that he's describing it could mean many movies. It's so generic the way it's like, okay, he obviously doesn't like it very much. So a little too general here.
And to make the plot more character-focused when it comes to Halliday. I just wish that they had made it more character-focused when it comes to, well, all of the other characters. Who is this even for? Part 2. Theme changes. A consequence of all this plot restructuring is that the film dilutes the most effective theme the book had going for it. The importance of finding a family. The film has a few lines establishing Wade as a lone wolf, but really he's working with H from the beginning, and they talk to each other as if they are part of one team.
She'll get my outfit. There's just this connection. I mean, sometimes we even
finish each other's sentences?
Yeah!
We have that. Me and you.
Daito and Sho act like allies from the beginning and are severely underwritten, so when they suddenly hard cut from the two mains to all 5 characters midway through the movie, you're like, wait, who are those two again? Now, this is going to be my most repeated phrase for this episode, and it does not mean the book was better or that it should be treated as gospel, but in the book, all 5 characters act at cross purposes for the majority of the story so that when they do finally come together at the climax, it feels earned. Artemis is the first to the second key in both versions, but she does it completely on her own in the book and operates independently for most of the story. And when Wade initially proposes an alliance in the book, Daito says, "My brother and I hunt alone. We don't want or need your help." Teamwork is even built into the structure of the contest, since the final gate requires 3 people to work together, which means this theme of needing to find a family is just a lot stronger in the book. Wade saying he's changed and found friends at the end of the movie feels tacked on because it's not as great of a change from the beginning of the film. The book had set-up payoff problems when it came to Wade passing the tasks, but the movie has set-up payoff problems when it comes to the emotional core of the story, so pick your poison. It's doubly as bad in his relationship with Artemis. Now, having a relationship that is entirely based on online interactions is an extremely interesting subject matter, but it's one that requires a careful hand, one that neither the book nor the movie really have. But for all of its faults, the book at least gave a sufficient enough time to this element of the story to make it believable. In the movie, every time Wade professes his love, it's cringe-inducing.
I do know you, Artie.
And it didn't need
Yeah, because
to
it's
be
supposed
rushed.
to be.
This film starts its climax with nearly...
Sheridan, not a good actor.
I agree, it's cringe, and they probably shouldn't have gone that way. But it's still, it's not trying to. It's not trying. The show's not. The film's not trying to portray it as right. Why am I having to defend this film? I don't understand.
Wasn't that the
Because
point of
Just
the
Right
character?
is a crappy critic.
I never thought I'd be defending, cringe in a film. But when someone's trying to say, "Oh, well, I just cringe," it's like, yeah, it's supposed to be cringe, but I agree it shouldn't be in there. But they intend to do it anyway. So yeah.
Apparently, Ready Player One #2 is coming out in November. I had no idea that
What?
that
There's
was
a second film?
I had no idea that was a thing.
I'm probably not going to watch that.
Yeah,
I ain't either. Well, might. I don't know.
it is
I'll see
2020.
if it's-
I mean, there's not much to do when you go out, so maybe that's a thing that people have been working on this past year. All from what is it? Remote
Maybe.
computing or whatever however they put this thing together.
Oh, so no, it's not a film; it's a book. Apparently, not the.
Oh, it's a
So there's
book.
going to be a sequel to the book.
Ready Player 2. Okay. Upcoming 2020 science fiction novel by American author Ernest Cline. Sequel to his 2011 debut novel, Ready Player 1. Okay, good. That makes much more sense. So it is a book. Oh, Racevic dropped a video on Alpha Protocol, The Good, the Bad Development. Hey, that is definitely something I would watch. I love that game. I'd be happy to. Cool stuff. Yeah. Wish I had a proper box to play. I've not been playing any games for a while because, like, I don't know if you guys have been seeing me on Discord. Like, you might have seen like my window pop up for League of Legends or this or that game. I couldn't even get those games to run, so I was just testing them out to see what the hell's wrong with my hard drive. So I'm buying a new box, but that was like, yeah, I can't play anything past few weeks. So I broke down. I'm going to be buying a console or a laptop tonight. Finally. John Lemley, who is this even for? A question that can be asked about any Just Right video. Well, people like his commentary. He does good editing. It's not the most intelligent. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of limited or limiting. It misses a lot of points, but that's fine. You don't have to be perfect when you make a video. I just wish he'd looked at more angles and did a bit more research and try to see what this thing is worth, aside from just saying, oh, it's just empty and vapid and this and that.
Because Just Right is also empty and vapid.
He's not that bad. He's not like Vander or Xander, whatever. He's got some books behind him. He's read and he's understood. It's his criticisms and conclusions that we sit there and go, wait, are you seriously criticizing the fact that the character is professing his love and it's cringy? Like that's not exactly an argument to be made. It's like, yes, this character's cringy. That's kind of the goal here. That's kind of what he's naive and young. That's what do you want? You want him to be
I agree that that's not the way that they should be portraying the character, because Yeah, because you can say the same about any annoying character like Cora, for instance. They intended to be annoying, but even though they intended to be annoying, the problem's still there of her being annoying. But it's... How do I best explain this? I don't know right now.
Wait a second. Is there a show called Lovecraft Country?
Yeah, it's on HBO.
I'm getting the advertisement like, what the devil is that?
I suppose the cringe in this film is a bit different to like what's actually happening when it comes to like entire characters like Legend of Korra or Ezra, for instance. What characters are just really annoying, even though they were meant to be annoying, according to the people making the films and the shows.
I'm just trying to think of which book by Lovecraft is made into an HBO series. I mean, what is it? Is it him as a person? Is it his world?
I don't. I think it's like something set in the Lovecraft universe, since it's public domain.
That's like saying Gaiman World or Asimov Land. Or it's like, what are you doing? Why would you make a series off that? That's so silly. Okay, I mean, I guess if you're a horror film person who likes Lovecraft, it might be popular. I don't know. It just sounds... Anyway, let's get back on the topic because I'm getting distracted here.
An hour left to go. It could have had more character development, but hey, at least it gave us the best romance writing since Attack of the Clones.
So much slower here. I mean, the wind, the people, everything.
Okay, that's nowhere near as bad as Attack of the Clones does its romance. I'm sorry, Attack of the Clones is bad.
And it gets everywhere.
There's a lot of
But there's
problems with this
another
film.
theme that is
Please
altered
criticize
as a
the
result of
actual
all this
problems
plot.
so I don't have to defend the film. I don't want to defend a shit film, please.
Well, he's comparing two films with bad romance stories. He's saying one is worse than the other, and
No, but he's saying, oh, it's the worst romance we've had since Attack of the Clones. It's like, but Attack of the Clones is worse. I don't even think it's comparable, the romance in this. I agree, the romance is not as developed as it probably needs to be, but that's nowhere near Attack of the Clones levels.
I concur. Like, I think that part of it is just like, it's the outdated acting that George Lucas liked to use.
I don't think it's outdated acting. I think it's just poor writing and dialogue, and George Lucas somehow not like. Why are they in pain when they're together? It's weird.
let's just say George doesn't know how to write romance very well.
I've been hurting since the day you came here. So have I. That means we're in love. It's like, no, George, no. It hurts when they're apart, not when they're together. I know what you're going for, but no, what the fuck?
It's so tragic when we're together. It's like, okay, lady. Here's Joseph Kerwin. Lovecraft County, or is it country? County or I don't know.
Whichever.
Is about racism. Oh boy, fun. Thanks, America. And there may be a tentacle at some point. Thanks, great. Can't wait to watch a series about racism and tentacles. Wait a second. Let's just watch some anime. That'll work too. They're not racist in Japan. Not at all. They accept all skin tones. They don't care.
You're not wrong, Smud. You're not wrong. Most anime.
In fact, they like every kind of species under the sun, let alone skin tone. So, yeah, their standards are a bit higher. Anywho.
Structuring, especially the intensified focus on Halliday, and that's the idea that pop culture is a religion. And it's here that we get as close as we're going to get to a Starship Troopers style rebuttal, but I'll argue that what they do here isn't a refutation of the book, just a shift that ends up bringing with it many of the same issues. It's very explicit in the book.
I don't even think it's a religion.
Living in a dystopian world, pop cultural artifacts are religious artifacts. Wade tells us directly that he believes God is a lie, but while that particular subject of worship is BS, the act of worshiping itself is good. There's a character named Mrs. Gilmore who Wade describes as a total sweetheart and his only friend other than H. Mrs. Gilmore is devoutly religious. She prays constantly, but Wade never brings up his atheism or argues with her about it. Instead, he says that religion was, for her, a pleasant fantasy that gave her hope and kept her going, which was exactly what the hunt was for me. The hunt for Halliday's Easter egg gives people purpose. The Oasis gives people purpose, just like religion does, so it doesn't matter that in the viewpoint of this book, all of them are built on fantasies.
Okay,
illusions.
just because something gives someone a purpose and because they like and are passionate about something, that's not quite equivalent to religion.
But how
religion
is that?
is something a little different.
But how is this a bad thing? He's just giving an example of this woman who believes in a higher power. Fine. And then we have the main character who believes in something else. That's fine.
And even then, the hunting for the keys thing, that's I wouldn't say that's kind of separate. It's tangential, sure, to giving him. It does give him a purpose, and it's tangential to his geek culture. But if you remove the keys, then you remove the motivation and purpose that it's apparently giving you for a religion. So therefore, it doesn't. It's even if you're going off of everything he's saying right now, it's still not a religion.
I don't
in his context.
I don't see it as a bad thing, though. He's just putting information that
No, I don't think it's a bad thing either. I just think he's not right.
Oh no, that's what I mean. He's bringing it up, and you're like, okay, yes, you're right, and like he doesn't have made a point yet. He's showing exposition of two characters. You're like, sure, and there's no conflict. It's like, is there supposed to be conflict? What's the point? Maybe he's just addressing that characters are similar, and these are their similarities. And for her, it's God, and for him, it's this game he's playing. What's wrong with that? It's a very. I don't mind talking about the story, but he hasn't made a point yet.
But games and geek culture aren't a purpose in life. They're not. In fact, at least that shouldn't be your purpose in life. It's supposed to be escapism. It's supposed to be fun. It's something that you can be passionate about. It's not something which you're supposed to devote your entire life to.
It's kind of like hunting for buried treasure. It's kind of like pursuing an impossible dream. This high ideal or aspiration.
I think that the book is right when it says, "Oh yeah, for her, her religion gives us purpose," whereas for him, the hunt gave him purpose. Sure.
If that's the effect,
it still doesn't quite fit with the way he's trying to frame it.
No. If that's the effect of a religion, then that's totally fine. He's just saying, for her it's this, for me it's that, and that's totally fine. I don't see a problem with that. Whether it should be whether it should be under conflict is another story. There are times in stories where you don't have to have a conflict just because you brought up an element of exposition or characterization. Sometimes characterization can exist just fine by itself. Like, I have a broken leg because this happened. And it's like, great. I shouldn't have to be limping all the time or itching or having this problem or the psychological phantom limb syndrome or what. Like, it doesn't have to always be about conflict. It could just be exposition for the sake of it, to color the world, like world building. And it's like, let's move on. Great. We're moving on. So, anywho, John Lemley again.
Making good time.
Yeah.
Good time.
John Lemley, produced by Jordan Peele. Oh, in regards to the racist, the racism movie or TV series. Yeah, we still haven't watched Get Out yet, but I don't know if we're going to bother with Voice in the Radio's schedule. We might. We never know. It's possible.
See.
Alrighty, John Lim again. Just Right gets to play all the 80s hits somehow. Maybe, I don't know. Does he?
I guess he doesn't know what frickin'
The Witch? What does he know?
What do you think about Mary or the friggin' or the holy hand forgets about the holy hand grenade, its existence?
Is that in the book? If that's in the book, I don't.
Yes, and it's also in the movie. It's all like just wait. He'll bring it up, and it's pretty hilarious, like how bad it is.
Oh, okay. Let's keep going then.
So we have that is about an atheist who is essentially on a religious style quest to find an object created by another atheist, Halliday. And when you're on a religious-style quest to find an object, the Holy Grail references make themselves. Wade names his in-game character Parzival after the Arthurian knight who found the Grail, and in the book he dresses as a knight. The first clue Halliday gives includes the line, "wherein the errant will be tested for worthy traits." The word errant is commonly used to describe errant knights, knights in chivalric romances and Arthurian legend, who are often on an adventure to find the Grail. And one of the final tests Wade faces is reciting Monty Python and the Holy Grail by memory. So Arthurian references are nearly as prevalent as 80s references in the book, and they are all...
They are geek references, whether it's 80s or 90s or 70s or 60s. This is geek culture. It doesn't matter what year they're in. This is a big buffet of references. That's Ernie... Again, this is what Ernie Klein does. It's not that
He doesn't
hard.
know how to do anything else.
Yeah, no, this is all he does, really. If you listen to all his other rants and slam poetry, it's all the same. So,
in service of this idea that pop culture is the new religion, and that studying that religion, being versed in it, will bring you purpose in life. Classic video games are talked about in religious terms. They are hallowed artifacts, pillars of the pantheon.
okay, when you have a virtual world, like a VR world, and it's any video game you want, I think that would be rather prevalent. I think every reference and every kind of simulation, whether it's a video game or, I don't know, like holodeck style experiences, that's going to be a big part of the culture. So naturally, you'd have these people who are living in this world half the time, having a great time and referencing all these things. And you'd have cliques and clubs and groups and elitists and this and that, the same way we have elitists in every other group and clique. Look at the Star Wars group. There's all sorts of casual fans and hardcore fans of the EU and what have you. So that's natural. And whether you want to call that a religion is no different than calling it a fandom. And I think he's getting a little too far with the words here and taking it a bit too seriously, because it just so happens to involve Monty Python or religious imagery. He's going too far. I was like, just right. Just slow down, buddy. This is not the point of the film. It's just cool. It just looks good. It sounds cool. That's all it is. It's a geek world.
Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
Exactly. Why is Airwolf cool to Ernie Klein? We have no idea. He thinks it's awesome. It was a cheesy 80s flick about a helicopter. Like, okay, whatever.
And the unbelievers like Sorrento are evil because they don't respect how sacred these creations are. Now, Sorrento as basically...
I don't think so. I really... he is a business guy doing what he wants for power. I don't think that's the message of the story. You could argue that is what Ernie Klein wants to be about, because geekdom is cool to him, and therefore the bad guy is someone who doesn't care. But I don't think he's like the iconoclast of geeky imagery and references. I don't think so. He's just the bad guy.
A pop culture atheist, stays the same in the film, but Spielberg pretty much tosses out the whole Arthurian legend motif. The only part that remains is Parzival's name, which they couldn't really get rid of, but they do change his appearance from Arthurian knight to generic anime boy with the worst strut in the world. Mrs. Gilmore, a character who exists to represent worship in a positive light in the book, is given one scene in the film where she is instead treated as a nuisance by Wade.
Hello, Wade.
Hello, Miss Gilmore.
What's the matter? Like getting you down?
That's not a
I read
nuisance.
this
That's
as
just
the film actively
that's
jettisoning the
awkward
entire theme of an
socialness.
atheist searching for meaning in his life.
To me, that just
and
screams
the
more like
cynic in
he's
me
socially
suspects
awkward.
It's to make the story more palatable to a wider audience. We're here for mindless pop culture fun, not a religious debate. The only explicitly religious reference in the film is the fact that he uses something called a holy hand grenade, which looks like a grenade made out of the Vatican. What is the commentary here? That religion...
Wait. Let's rewind this.
He referenced Monty Python earlier, and he didn't stop to think, where have I seen that before?
Wait a second.
Where have I seen the holy hand grenade?
Wait. Just Right has never seen Monty Python's Quest for the Holy Grail.
His comments roasted him over missing that one. It was hilarious to watch.
No. He's never seen it. That's it. That's the conclusion. That's the only conclusion you can make here. He hasn't seen it. Jeez. I mean, it's possible. Some people go through their life, have never seen Monty Python. It's possible. I agree. I would not know in which reality, though, because if I was growing up in the 80s and I never watched Monty Python, what rock was I living under? How long was I under that rock? Let's just watch that again.
Religious reference in the film is the fact that he uses something called a holy hand grenade, which looks like a grenade made out of the Vatican. What is the commentary here? That religion is a
Why
weapon?
does
It's
everything
kind of
have to be
okay,
commentary
so
to this person?
He
Why
thinks
does everything have to be commentary?
this is symbolic of religion. Because he doesn't get... This is a movie about references. He doesn't catch the reference, therefore it's symbolic suddenly of religion. That's his conclusion. Are you serious?
Yeah, it's not hard to assume that something is a reference that you just didn't get when the whole film is full of references. It's a reference film. Every 5 seconds, it's a bloody reference.
This is like going through a forest.
I don't even know that this is a reference film. This is reference things to the movie.
This is ridiculous. Okay, I was about to say, this is like walking through a forest, and you're like, tree, tree, tree. And you go look at this other tree. It doesn't look like all the other trees. You're like, what is this? This can't be a tree. It's got leaves and stuff, but it's something else. What does this mean? Like, what are you talking?
What are the themes here? Hey, look, there's this strange girl with this really weird haircut and goggles. She's wearing these orange trousers. What's the themes behind the orange trousers? And I was just right. I think it's actually just Tracer from Overwatch. But what are the themes?
What's the symbolism behind this weird object? It doesn't look like a tree I know. Oh dear.
He's stupid.
Well, he's not. He's just ignorant. I mean, he actually referenced Monty Python previously, so he didn't watch it. And then he's making a completely ridiculous statement because of his ignorance. So let's just use the proper term. He's ignorant. Which is almost impossible in my head. If you're watching a geeky film like Ready Player One and you don't get all the references, that's fine. But you don't start making a video questioning the references if you don't get the reference. That's silly. All right, Mark in 3D. Just Right is also from Toronto, so am I. A big rock indeed. I don't know. All the people I've met in Toronto know Monty Python, okay? It's kind of... Unless you've just been born the past few minutes. And never... I'm sure everyone in Great Britain knows Monty Python.
Yep.
Like, just indiscriminately...
Even if they haven't seen it, they know
of it. They know the jokes. They know this or that. They know the coconut thing. They know the European or laden swallows. You know, they get the jokes, right? Yeah, it's like common thing.
My parents showed me like a bunch of Monty Python and the Holy Grail clips. I haven't seen like the full thing, but I've seen most of it. Like I know the Knights Who Say Nee, or the friggin' monster rat demon rabbit.
I remember the only wrong reference I got. My uncle was trying to tell me a story about these two knights fighting. So, mere flesh wound. He thought it was a bullwhip as opposed to a broadsword. His memory was different. But other than that, every other reference I got is like on point. Everything. Like this was like in the 70s, I think. 71? I can't recall how old this film is. And that's just one of their films. They have Life of Brian, The Meaning of Life. You know, you don't have to watch them all, but I think The Holy Grail is the most famous.
The weirdest thing is, yeah, I would have to agree. And you also have like the weird position that Excalibur was in, where it came out after Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh,
which is weird.
Yeah, that was a really adult, strange fantasy movie. Wouldn't say the biggest fantasy film genre of its time, but it was adult. It was dark. It dealt with all the not all the themes, but you know some of the romantic elements, power, usurping power, adultery, that sort of thing. Yeah. Wasn't for everyone. It's kind of a hit and miss, kind of mediocre at times. Been a while since I've seen that. Yeah.
Excalibur's kind of like, a lot of people love it, a lot of people are mixed, couple of people hate it. That's, it's just like you get the iconic shot of Gabriel Byrne's having sex with the director's daughter while he's wearing full plate armor.
I'm trying to remember. So I know there was a partial sex scene. I seem to remember this woman blowing smoke out of her mouth, summoning the dragon. It's this mist that covers the battlefield. I was like, what the hell is going on? Very strange film, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like, oh my god. Like, Helen Mirren's great, and her and the guy who plays Murdoch are kind of the only people that are like having fun or at least elevating the material. Everything else is kind of bland.
And Morgana and Merlin for sure, yeah.
And in terms of the acting.
Okay, Joe Crazy. I'm surprised Just Right hasn't been hit with a strike, especially with YouTube's janky copyright system. No, he's actually pretty good with his editing. If you notice, he only does like a few seconds, and those are with audio. The other ones are completely without audio. So this guy knows how to do good editing. This is why his channel is so popular. He says strange things with them, but he does quality videos. We got to give him that.
Yeah.
Here's John Lemley. Only Just Right is a bigger boomer than Smudboy. I don't know. I think if you're alive today, you're a somewhat of a fantasy geek or video game geek. Pick any geekdom, and you don't know Monty Python. Something's wrong with growing up. I don't know. Like, what happened? Did you not be around other people? Like, what happened?
Yeah, it's like, this is only a flesh wound.
It's so quotable. Like, every single scene is so quotable in that film. It's amazing.
Is the airosity of an unladen swallow? What do you mean? An African or European swallow? And the best part is that's a setup joke.
Yeah, it's kind of like watching The Princess Bride. Like, every scene in that movie is there's a quote you can remember. You know what's happening. You know the joke. Everything is just perfect. So, even the animation is cute in Monty Python: The Holy Grail, which is always a setup for a joke. So, here's Joseph Kerwin again. Just writes, hearing the music of the spheres. If you listen hard enough on a quiet night, you can hear the planets move according to myth. What? What are you talking about? I've never heard of the music of the spheres. What is this? Is this where he's reaching so far? He's imagining things? Like, what is this? What is this reference? Oh, he's making constellations of plot points. Okay. Yeah, it's I don't know where he's coming from, but again, this is all based off ignorance. We can't fault him for that. We can sort of laugh along. It's like, oh, obviously, everyone else who's knowledgeable is sort of like, oh, come on, please. Symbolism of a hand grenade of Antioch. Oy.
That the book pop culture as a religion, but here's where the impacts of those story focus changes come into effect. The movie putting all of this extra focus on Halliday switches the theme from the worship of pop culture creations to the worship of pop culture creators. It puts this in religious terms too.
And Halliday, he wasn't just the owner of the world's biggest company. He was like a god. People loved him. They worshipped him as much as his creation.
Halliday is shown to us as rising from the dead. His avatar is pictured up above the clouds as if he is in heaven. When Wade passes the first challenge, he falls to his knees in front of Halliday as if he's just met God. When Wade completes his quest, he encounters Halliday in a throne room that looks like a cathedral. This film really leans into the creator as God idea before it pulls the curtain back to show Halliday's humble origins. So what's going on here? What does this all mean? Well, I think it has to do with two things, that Shining sequence and that big old off button. You see, while Wade is both the audience's and the author Ernest Cline's surrogate character, Spielberg's surrogate character is Halliday. He's the character who most closely matches Spielberg's experience. Because the kind of culture that Ready Player One is celebrating isn't really just geek culture anymore, it's blockbuster culture. And I'm wondering if Spielberg has conflicted
I don't think it's specific to movies. I think it's just everything. When you read Ready Player One, he makes references to all sorts of things. The 80s especially, and that involves comic books and movies and video games, etc., 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 TV shows, like everything. It's geek culture as a whole. So if you have a fandom and you're called a geek, it's one of those things, whether it's movies or films or TV shows or video games or comic books. It's all of that. And Ernie Cline's he's very detailed. He talks about all of them. So it's not just films and video games or geek culture, whatever that means to Just Right.
Feelings over the state of the modern blockbuster and his role in creating it. The Shining sequence is here as the answer to the clue, a creator who hates his own creation. But the idea of a creator hating his own creation...
I think that's just Spielberg, honestly. He really likes the idea, and he put it in there because he could. I'd have to reference the book to make sure, but it's if you're a Spielberg and you are now making a film where everything's a simulation and references, you're going to put in some of the biggest references you could think of in your movie.
Yeah.
It seems like a no-brainer.
Also connects the possibility Wade is given to turn the whole Oasis off. He doesn't, just like Spielberg doesn't. And while Wade in the book tells us that he has grown beyond his addiction to fantasies, the film's conclusion is half-hearted. They turn off the Oasis 2 days of the week, but they're married to the fantasy the rest of the time. Just as these characters can't fully cut themselves off from fantasy, neither can Spielberg, and neither can we.
But yeah, there's no need to do so. I can't think there's an actual reference to turning it off permanently or escaping the world. The whole prize is the Oasis. That's the whole quest. That's the goal. And is there a specific reason why it has to be turned off? This is a way of life for people. This is their escape from their horrible scenario that they're in. Why would you take that away from people permanently? Why is Just Right taking the route of symbolism? Why is that always?
Because he needs to justify his own existence.
It's like it has to be symbolic. It's like, no, it doesn't. Is there a practical reason they didn't turn it off completely? Because people want it. It's like, yeah, you're in control of it now. Fine, keep it on. Keep people happy. That makes sense. That's fine. Doesn't have to be symbolic of escaping the fantasy world and living in the real world now. Why would it? That's like, getting ownership of World of Warcraft and going, all right, I'm going to turn this off forever. It's like, why?
We're getting in control of Disney.
Imagine how
Matrix, like being in control of the Matrix.
I mentioned this before, but like how much the Oasis actually contributes to the economy, like the businesses in it that build things and avatars and vehicles and all that kind of stuff. Imagine how much you'd fuck the economy just shutting the entire thing down.
Yeah,
like a lot of money flows through there.
It's very similar to the idea of having a weekend where the 2 days of the week you don't work. So that's fine, but if that's all it is, no big deal. You're not turning it off permanently to represent your greater character growth of letting go of the fantasy world. It's like, all right, yeah, we get it, but that's not what's in the film.
Yeah, Just Right is an interpretive hack.
that's the 100-foot looking down upon us. Yeah, it's just right saying the same crap over and over.
He has good editing, but that is his only
savior.
Yeah, that's his only actual merit as a person.
Where the book wanted to say that we should stop worshipping.
What was that?
Oh, I was just going to say most of the stuff is either factually inaccurate or misrepresentation.
Wildly subjectively interpreted, yeah.
Pop cultural creations, the movie seems to want to say that we should stop worshipping pop culture creators because they're not gods, they're real people too. And when I look at the story in this way, it feels as if I am approaching some kind of substance. The problem is that both texts undermine their own supposed messages. These moral of the story moments...
So wait a second, there's a supposed message in both the film and the book, and they both are undermining themselves. Supposedly. All right. Okay. Where are you going with this, Just Right? Let's. Oh, just delicious.
Feel obligatory and insincere considering everything that has come before. Wade wins because of how much he worships pop culture / pop culture creators. And that's the problem. Wade's relationship to fiction is so obviously unhealthy and yet never sincerely contradicted. And that is what leads us to Part 3, Inherent Flaws. Ready Player One is the fantasy of never being wrong. The central appeal of the book is this. Here's this guy named Wade. He's a nerd like you, the presumed reader. He spends all of his time memorizing pop culture and has no real friends. Early in the book, another character says to him, "If I didn't spend so much time offline getting laid, I'd probably know just as much worthless shit as you two do." And the fantasy of the book is that you get to prove that jerk wrong. You get to double down on your fandoms and get rewarded with all of the riches in the world. It's total validation for having been right all along. In both...
Yes, it's a fantasy. We get it. It's really blatantly obvious.
It's escapism. Escapism doesn't necessarily have to be deep.
It's just wish fulfillment. That's all it is, with a bit of a power fantasy thrown in there because you're playing a video game in a virtual world. That's it. That's as deep as it gets.
This is already a deeply flawed movie in terms of its structure.
It's not like it's. I don't know. It's pretty obvious, Just Right. I don't know why we're having to contemplate this. Designed to be a certain way from the book it was written from. It's no kidding. Yeah, it's got some problems. Like, yes, Spielberg knows this. He's not trying to make the next Jaws or whatever. Here's Joe Crazy. I just thought Wizard Man with Halliday's avatar. Who's Wizard Man? Is that just generic wizard guy?
Like, he looks like like a wizard. Like generic wizard man.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, pretty much. Not God.
Versions of the story feels an immediate connection to Artemis despite never having met her. The one moment in the movie where it looks like he screwed up is totally validated because he was right all along. Even though Artemis said he'd be disappointed by her appearance, turns out she actually looks like, well, a Hollywood movie star. She's just overly self-conscious about a birthmark. In the book, he basically stalks her, and in the movies, he tells her he loves her practically immediately. He never has to pay a price because he's too busy winning. He's also never met Halliday in real life either, and there's a parallel here between his relationship with Artemis and his relationship with him. Wade has...
there isn't.
Why would he meet Halliday in real life? It's like...
He's dead.
Yeah, like why is this essential? That's like Steve Jobs has a dying message. It's like, oh, well, you never met Steve Jobs. It's like, it's Steve Jobs. And the other guy's a schlub. How would these people ever meet? And why? What are you getting at, Just Right? What's your argument here? They've never met in real life. Yeah, they meet in the virtual world. That's how it goes. I've never met Shiny in real life. Is that important? I mean, maybe. Am I less
You wouldn't want to meet me in real life. I have this really weird birthmark over half my face. I'm just awful. I'm hideous.
I don't get the argument. Well, maybe he has to finish his sentence. Let's just find. Come on, Just Right. What are you saying? Come on.
Has blinded his life to following the instructions of a dead man. But hey, actually turns out he's a nice guy, I guess, and doing everything he said to the letter wins you riches beyond measure.
Yes, it's a journey to win the frickin' oasis. That's the point. That's the whole... If he was lying, that'd be a pretty crappy journey. Pretty crappy guy. Unless it was
Sounds like he's... It'd be like The Last Jedi. Like, imagine if Rian Johnson directed Ready Player One.
Oh boy.
There would be a lot of subversion of expectation, and I honestly, I think it would be much worse.
So
Of course
yeah,
it
Wade
will.
wins nothing. He gets to the end. There's nothing. You win the Oasis, which
Yeah.
is nothing.
Let's see what's in the
You
box.
see, it was all this entire time. It was the friends you made along the way.
Or let's see what's in the box. Nothing.
Nothing!
Absolutely nothing.
You are so stupid. If you don't get that reference, that is by Weird Al Yankovic's UHF movie, which is a classic. Everyone should watch that. But then, it's not vital watching. But I'm sure if that was in Ready Player One, Just Right wouldn't have caught it. He'd be like, "What's up with this Asian guy punching people through walls? Why is that happening? Why is there a wheel of fish? Is this like a joke on Wheel of Fortune? What does that mean? What's the symbolism behind the fish?
What does that mean to you?
Just wait till he
What are
gets.
the themes?
The themes of the
Wait
fish.
till he gets. Wait till he gets to his. Just wait till he gets to his gendered reading of the film.
Wait, there's a gendered reading of Ready Player One?
Yep.
Why? What?
He's gonna bring that up in a minute. I'm not joking. I wish I were lying, but he's gonna do it.
Gendered? Oh, God. All right. Gender, Paul. Here we go. Oh, fuck. Who recommends these videos? I gotta go find this person. Was it you?
I did. Yeah, I put this in the suggestions chat.
Oh, you did, and you voted for. Okay, that makes more sense. All right. Ridiculous, ridiculous arguments. All right, let's keep going.
So even if he wants to say you shouldn't waste your life memorizing everything about pop culture or worshipping the maker of your favorite thing, and should instead spend more time outside and with your family, the text of both stories tells you, no, your fandom is the best part about you. But just remember, it's only a certain kind of fandom that's good. The book exemplifies the kind of toxic gatekeeping of what being a fan means.
What? No, it doesn't. It's literally a big list of random fandoms and references. That's it. It doesn't. There's nothing toxic about that. The guy has an entire chapter dedicated to the 80s. He just goes blah 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 blah. It's just reference. And how is, even if it is gatekeeping or whatever you call it, how is that bad? How is it bad to say, hey, you know what? We shouldn't have supernatural powers or magical powers in Star Wars.
Well, no. Okay, so the way gatekeeping, the term it's generally used as, is to describe people trying to keep people out of their fandom, and that's the way a lot of people try to describe gatekeeping.
Really? I've never heard it used that way.
So it's all been basically to keep people out of a certain thing. And in the context of what he's trying to talk about here and that we've heard before, they're trying to say, basically, this is supporting keeping certain people out of the fandom, the people who aren't real fans.
How is that even possible when you're in a virtual world and anyone could be anyone?
Same with, I think.
Because it's
like he's arguing that's a meta commentary on real life. It's
the
like
reason
that.
The reason why people seem to think that it is because the knowledge of his fandom is important to, or integral to, pushing the plot along. So the knowledge of all the games, the knowledge of this, that, and the other, and it has a similarity to the types of strangers who question you to make sure that you are real fans, even though it's a very small minority of the fandom.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, well, this is saying that it's okay to ask people questions to make sure they're real fans. I just want to point out that's not what the film's saying at all.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Glib, how's it going? Thanks for joining us.
Hello. How's it
Fuck
going
up,
with you? Well, it's time for someone to be right in chat. Right, chat?
Yeah,
Anyway.
apparently chat can't swear. I don't know what's going on. I never put the setting to disable that, so I don't know.
Oh well.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. I think, as far as I know, unless YouTube suddenly changes rules globally. Don't know.
Yeah, but I just there was some really funky arguments I was listening to in chat. I wanted to stop in and give my 2 cents because, like, Just Right. I think he said something like the girl with the beauty mark or whatever. She looks like a Hollywood movie star, and I'm like, no, she doesn't. Stop gaslighting me with basic shit. That girl is pretty plain looking for a movie star. You know what I mean?
Pretty regular, really.
Pretty regular looking, and then that face, that if somebody actually had that beauty mark, they'd be like, oh. But because it's so minor compared to something else, then she still has to be a little pretty because nobody's going to want to have the sexuals with an ugly lady, which is just human nature, and all of this is just human nature. I mean, Just Right is really funny because he's like, he's fantasizing about how the characters are never wrong, how they're always right because it's validation and stuff like that. I'm like, your name is Just Right. Your entire channel is validation for like your ideas. It's not well argued. It's broadcasting ideas that you want to other people to adhere to that you think are correct, and you're putting it out there on YouTube to try and educate other people to have your kind of point of view. I find that interesting that you're then taking that as like, oh, look, here's a negative about this person wanting to be right all the time. Also, I'm just right.
I still can't get over the fact that he didn't catch a reference, therefore he has to resort to symbolism or some other technique that he missed. He
didn't get the Holy Grail reference of the Holy Hand Grenade.
Therefore, it's
he's not a real gamer girl, so we got to throw him out of the club. You're out of the gaming community now because we're gatekeeping. You're not allowed to play any more video games. Log online. If we see it, I'm calling the cyber police.
Here's the.
I honestly just want Just Right. I wish that Just Right would actually like grow some brain cells or grow them back, since he seems to have lost them around the time after he made his Hobbit videos.
He was like, "Oh my god, things don't have to be good. Just do whatever the fuck. Just right. That's my name. Just right. Don't even bother about if it's like coherent or if your fan base might be looking for something like escapist fantasy or validation. That's not right. What's right is not being right. Just do whatever, man." It's the most lukewarm, milquetoast, inoffensive point of view, because I think he said during the Mahler chat, the Just Right and Mahler and Wolf or whatever, he was like, if he ruins somebody's good time, then he feels bad. But I guarantee that doesn't apply to things that he thinks are morally bad or bad for society or poorly written in his opinion. We all have trouble differentiating complete objectivity in our taste. You know what I mean? It's like we're trying to obtain this objectivity, but here with Just Right, it's like it's that nice in between where you're like, are you being objective here, or is this your opinion? And it's couched in very comfy language for him to be like, yeah, you can believe what I'm saying, and if you're not, I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I'm going to heavily imply it.
Yeah, I think Just Right has suddenly blocked a lot of people, including me and Mahler, on Twitter for that one tweet he made, which was about, some people can change their opinions over time. And we were like, really? Really? You can? That's true, you can. But from what to what? What's the context there, Just Right? And he just blocked us. You're like, whoa. What happened?
Some people, from my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Well, they are.
I was a Jedi until I evolved as a critic. Now I'm a Sith Lord.
Here's Joseph Kerwin again. Gatekeeping is good. Kick out all the subversive interlopers. F off. We're full. I don't mind when I don't mind when people are critical of the things I like, because it puts into context why I like them and why I shouldn't, because maybe there are some reasons I'm too enthusiastic about something or not critical enough. So I always welcome criticism. I appreciate it when we get those weird bread tubers criticizing us and LiteratureDevil, and we talk about it. That helps. It clarifies things. So when we hear Vosh or all these other guys, maybe not Sheep in the Box or other people like that who just are horrible at arguments, but other those people who make references and we listen to what they have to say, more often than not, they're wrong. and get references wrong, and that's fine. But at least we know where they're coming from so that we get the thing. We want to be as accurate as possible. That's not part of objectivity, but we want to get the facts right and the interpretation right so that when we come to these conclusions, we have a full body of evidence to work with. So it always helps. I get people every day on my channel criticizing me and this or this idea or talking about The Last of Us 2 and why Abby is fine and all this other stuff. And that's great. I encourage that. So I try not to piss people off, but it comes down to people just not getting the facts right. And we can always reference the facts and slam people as like, listen, no, you got that wrong. Go back here. Not, oh, you just don't know what a plot is. It's like I've dedicated a lot of my time. I've written books on it, of what plot is and what it means. I know the references. I have the page numbers, So if you want to criticize me, do it right. I welcome all literary understandings.
Not only do I think that gatekeeping is not actively practiced within fandoms, at least the majority of the fandoms, I don't even think it's possible to keep people out of a fandom. Because it's not like you can add a block list or there's anything you can do to stop them from enjoying a certain type of media.
Yeah, we have fanfic.net. People can write all the fan fiction they like. It's crazy, and that's great.
And people actively want people to take part in what they're passionate about in their fandom. There's a reason why people always keep taking their girlfriends to Comic-Cons, and reason why they keep trying to make their girlfriend watch whatever they want to watch.
Yeah, so what exactly is toxic fandom? Does anyone know what that is?
Everything I don't like is a toxic fandom.
The best way is the literal definition of toxic elements which are harmful to others or something. And don't get me wrong, there are elements of the fandom. I would say maybe like 2% at most of a fandom usually is your creme de la crazy of your toxic element, but it's often not a majority. And those they're often just twats that are a dick to everyone, not just because you're a woman or because you're this, that, or the other.
Doesn't that just come down to bad attitudes and reactions to people that you talk to?
Yeah, I've come across like absolute twats in terms of trying to who just think they're better than everyone else because they know certain things about, I don't know, Warhammer, Games Workshop employees, cough, cough. I'm sure.
Yeah, but that's because people don't want somebody that doesn't know anything to come in or has some sort of antithetical idea to come into something and then start making arbitrary changes. They want to test you. They want to know, hey, you got the stuff. And then you go, yeah, I got the stuff. I know what happened in 42, M42. And you're like, yeah, that's right. Chaos. Let's go beat up some Tau.
Here's the context. So I'm a 16-year-old. I know nothing about Warhammer. I wanted to buy a set so I could play with my uncle, who's really big into Warhammer. And I get this really weird dude like lounging over my shoulder, asking me things like, "Can you piss off? You're weird. You're strange." No, and that happens to everyone, not just women. And it is this element which is actually toxic. That it really something you just don't want to pay mind to. It's not the majority at all.
It seems with these people, like what they're talking about with toxic fandom, it definition changes depending on the person and what they're trying to argue. It's very much goalposts are always shifting in terms of toxic fandom. There are idiots who say that it's toxic fandom that ruined Game of Thrones. It's like, no.
In terms of
Game of Thrones was by the mainstream media, not just fans on YouTube.
What Glib's talking about seems to be more about the people in the industry actually making the changes, where I suppose what I'm talking about more is just people being dicks to other fans or other people who are just, I don't know, casually interested in what's happening.
Guys, we almost got Shiny out of the 40K community, but it didn't work.
I'm not even in the 40K community because in the end I didn't buy it because the guy was weirding me out.
Yeah, we did it. Thank you, weird guy. Got this Star Wars loser out of 40K.
Honestly, the biggest stereotype of like the biggest, fattest nerd you've probably ever seen.
It's a big stereotype, just like the circumference of his waistband.
All right.
In the end, I just end up using one of my uncle's sets.
Excuse me, did you know that the Space Marines are actually the sons of the Emperor genetically with the genes? Yeah, I did know that. What does that matter?
Here's a
Yeah, I agree that some people should be gatekept out of like the industry or stuff. People who are untalented or people who, for example, Alex Kurtzman, he should be gatekept out of making anything. But that's the industry. That's separate to the fandom.
Here is Tyler Preston. Oh, the irony in the accusations of us being gatekeepers. Ugly broad Curio.
Yeah.
Oh boy, called the Witcher fan
Yeah,
base
yeah.
fat. Wait a second. Wait. Slow down here. You're telling me Curio, that person on YouTube, called the Witcher fan base, the entire fandom, fascists.
What?
Of course. How
Because
do we not see this?
there's usually two versions of the fan base: the book readers and the game players. Now there's the show watchers. So now it's just all of them are fascists.
I hope that this
All of
person
them.
gets roasted by Rawrest.
Everybody I don't like is Hitler.
Yeah.
Literally Hitler.
Now, if nobody here has heard of Rawrest, she's a very active, like, female YouTuber who loves The Witcher, the show, and the books. And it's like, oh, dude, that was not a good take. That was terrible. There's a lot of girls who love The Witcher.
I'm beginning to think fascism is the new F word of 2020. It's just constant, everyday Twitter, social media.
This has
Someone.
been longer than 2020. Where have you been hiding?
Well, they have nothing else. All they can do is call their ideological opponents fascists. They don't have an argument.
I think it's more of an election year thing. They're starting to swear more and say stupid stuff, and you just sit there going, do you even know what you're talking? Like, I don't mind you getting angry and being emotional and don't having control over your words, but get the right swearing, get it right, sir. Just tell me what I am properly. It's kind of like calling me an eco terrorist. It's like, wait, no, I'm not an eco terrorist, let alone a terrorist. So just where are you going with this political ideology of yours?
Obviously, you're a verbal terrorist.
Verbal terrorist.
I love that. Everybody that isn't whatever they are is some sort of authoritarian fascist, and I think it's really projecting. Every time that I see that, it's some person that wants to go out there and be some sort of authoritarian masquerading as a progressive, like a Chink Uyghur type.
The only time I've heard this phrase a long time ago, back in the 80s, was a show called The Young Ones. And there was this guy. The Young Ones is about four guys sharing a room in UK. And he kept calling everyone a fascist as a joke. Like that was his sort of joke. Like everyone against him is a fascist. The banks are fascist. This or that are fascist. It's kind of funny. But it was a comedy show. So naturally, it's like, whatever. Who knew that was the thing in the 2000s, that people would be calling others who are not of the same political stripe fascists? Anyway, here's Bogue. Thank you, Bogue. Casuals ruin everything. Bazinga.
True. Absolutely true. I mean, like, I've been researching mountaineering recently for no good reason. It took 20-something years for me to understand the appeal of climbing up a giant mountain. But if you look at mountains like Everest or whatever it is, there's always tourism. There's always going to be people that are there to climb the biggest mountain or see whatever the biggest thing is or go to the bottom of the ocean or whatever. And there's always people that are casuals that are going to die on the mountain or make massive mistakes and ruin the opportunities for other people. Or they're even worse, and this is why I think it's relevant to this. You have guides that are like not very good guides, and they lead people to their doom. And that's kind of what we're experiencing here. We're experiencing people that they're trying to go up Everest. They're trying to climb the proverbial mountain, and they're unequipped to do so. And they don't have the experience, and they don't know the way because they haven't been there before. And they're going to lead all of us off the cliff like lemmings. So I think it's perfectly reasonable to gatekeep the entrance to Mount Everest if you're the government of Nepal, because you have to be able to understand who's actually able to go up this mountain and make it to the top. Who is gonna have to be rescued in a rescue endeavor that might take the lives of other people. Now, this is an extreme metaphor, but I don't see how an extreme metaphor doesn't reduce down to a normal metaphor, where instead of leading people off of a cliff, you don't know the way to McDonald's, and so you lead the way to the wrong location, and then everybody gets a little upset. If you're going to take a leadership position, which is what these positions are in nerddom, if you're going to be the person in charge of canon, you're essentially an unelected fictional leader. You're guiding all of these people along with you, and you better please them or service them in the way that they're required or they're there for, or you're going to lose the leadership position. Now, the problem is that we've lost gatekeeping. There should be more higher end gatekeepers, and the systems that are being gatekept should be gatekept by the masters of it. We should have that old school collegiate system where people who've earned their position have a say. They don't have the ability to block everybody's new potential, because that's its own kind of metaphorical, mythic process, basically.
About the industry.
But yeah, it's people that know what they're doing should be teaching other people to do what they know how to do, and then leaving opportunity for people who are learning, who have new ideas, to make those experiments. And we have this happy system. And that translates into maintaining good IPs and creating new ones. It's really simple.
But when you're talking about gatekeeping, you're talking about it in a different context in what people like Just Right are trying to talk about gatekeeping. Because they're talking about sexist, racist gatekeeping within fandom, and you're talking about gatekeeping within an industry to make sure that there is an upkeep of quality.
Yeah, well, I think that applies to what he's talking about. I think the excuse again, the great Trojan horse is, oh, you're keeping out women and minorities and homosexuals. It's like, where haven't I heard that before? You're saying that all of society just doesn't want this because of what? And it's not that. That's not. They say that argument because they want to frame the entire thing like that. That's not what's happening. What's happening in terms of gatekeeping that I think is worth talking about is what I'm talking about. What they're talking about is fiction. That doesn't exist. You have one guy who's not in charge of Games Workshop or whatever bothering you, right? Like, he turns you off of it. That's a problem for the company. That's a bad brand ambassador, but he doesn't represent the entire fandom. You can go to a different store. You can go down the block. You can meet up with your friends. You can buy something online. The only thing that's keeping somebody out of a fandom is you. And if the fandom doesn't like you, you have to think about that. And I think that a lot of these people don't actually think about who they are and what they've become in terms of how other people are reacting to them. Because they're so morally justified in their own head to be like, of course I belong here. Who are you to say I don't belong here? And then everyone goes, I never thought about that, because nobody was paying attention to you until you started bitching about it.
And these are primarily stuff that's online, with online groups of people and this or that. I remember going to all sorts of clubs in university, and they were very accepting, whether it was philosophy club or anime club or this or that club. They didn't care. Come on in. Yeah, we're going to have an argument or a debate this day. We're going to watch Osamu Tezuka later. Like, it's all kinds of fun stuff. And unless you're a jerk, unless you're like really not very good with people, that's fine, as long as you don't bother people. But if you're wrong, they'll be happy to correct you. If you argue incorrectly, they'll tear you apart, because that's the point. So depending on which club you're a part of, whether it's the jocks, whether it's philosophy or media, you got to know your people. And for the most part, I haven't seen anyone that doesn't fit in, at least in an in-person world. Once you get to the digital world, once you get to social media, Facebook, that sort of thing, that's when you get this sort of, I can't connect with you as a person. I'm going to say what's ever off the top of my head, emotionally, call you this or that, and then you get blocked very quickly. So that's just being a jerk online, I guess. But I have never seen this problem in person, personally. Maybe it's different these days.
And it's people actively want people to take part in the fandom and what they care about and what their passion is. I've met many girls who haven't part of the fandom, who haven't been gatekeeped. In fact, they're actively celebrated for their amazing artwork. It's, again, people actively. How could you say something like this when people actively try to get their girlfriends and friends into their own fandom, into what they enjoy? Because sharing your passion is absolutely amazing.
Another thing that I think that what Glib is asking for is not necessarily gatekeeping; it's vetting,
upkeeping standards,
logical vetting, and is logical vetting of sure that the crazies aren't involved.
I would agree. It's a gatekeeping of a type, but even then, I think that's just pretty standard in industry to say, "Hey, look, you need to be qualified for this job before I give you the job."
Yeah, that's the problem. Is that people are treating being a fan as if like. You come in here. Oh, I like this thing. Yeah, it's cool. And everyone goes, that's cool that you like that thing. Cool. That's awesome. Now we're doing this because you're going to a place where there's a social group and then they're playing D&D or something. So you don't want to interrupt their D&D game. I think there's that perfect, that comic where the new player comes in and then she starts complaining about everything. That's happening simultaneously on the level of authorization and editorial and authorial control at the top, and then it's also happening on the bottom by the same people that are just reading it. So you have people that create this need for something. They go, we need more representation, and then there's somebody at the top level that has the exact same idea that goes, see, somebody's asking for representation of whatever, and then those two people basically service each other, and everybody else is upset. So it's like it's what Ethan says, Ethan Van Sciver. He's like, don't let these people into your gaming community or whatever it is, because they're just there to ruin it. They're vipers. They're there to be the culture vultures, steal your shit and then leave. And every single culture experiences this, whether it's skateboarding or hip hop or video games. There's always posers that come in that are weak-minded, pathetic, that are unable to meet the same level of understanding or competence as the people around them, and then they want standards dropped.
The Glib, it's impossible to stop anyone from being in a fandom. It's you can't stop them from celebrating it in any way. So therefore, it's almost an impossibility to gatekeep unless you're going to harass them, which I don't think we should advocate them to do.
I don't understand what that means. Like to be a part of a group means that you participate in that group. So you could people that are
like to be part of the Star Wars fandom. It's not like you're you have to join specifically the Star Wars Facebook group, which you actively have to vet members. A fandom is something much more less nebulous. It's more just how you care about it and how you feel about something and how you're passionate about it. So you can't really stop people from.
Well, then it's not a social environment.
You can't stop people from watching a film, or you can't stop people watching or like taking part in Facebook posts or making art or any of the other things which fans actively do.
Joseph Kerwin says, to be a part of the Star Wars fandom, you need brain damage. Well, that qualifies everybody here, so we're good. But
all right.
but just as for what you were saying, Shiny, I think that you're making a distinction between the concept of being a fan of something as an individual and interfacing with the art, and then at the same time, there's a social group that you're joining, and there's subgroups. So like there are definitely fandoms within fandoms, but the thing is that a fandom,
like a Discord group or a Facebook group.
What's the difference between the fandom as a unit and just fans?
I suppose I'm talking about a very fandom generally, but I'd say if you are a fan, then you are part of the fandom. Because a fandom is a general term for talking about the fans.
Well, then it's like the idea of gatekeeping for a fandom is impossible, like you're saying. But then also, it's not really a social community if there's no organization. If it's just everybody that is a fan of something, so that kind of nullifies all of the arguments about gatekeeping or any of that. If it's a free for all and anybody can just come in and do it, then nobody can complain.
Because what you're talking about is different to like I wouldn't describe like I don't know a Facebook group as a fandom. I would say it's part of the fandom. It's a small community within the bigger community, and the bigger community is something which you have absolutely no control over whatsoever. But then a
fandom isn't a community then.
That's just how you describe community, really.
We keep going with this amazing video. I think that
we've had a very long tangent.
All right, let me go through the super chats and we'll get going. This is from Bogue. Fat, sweaty, oily, stinky gatekeepers are heroes. You know what? Everyone, and regardless of their appearance, are. This channel wouldn't be what it is without the hardcore fans of, let's say, BioWare. Some people pointed out my things I've missed in my analysis. I don't think I was ever wrong on references, but I didn't get the full meaning out of the references, especially the behind-the-scenes stuff, like characters like UDP that pop up now and again. Some of you guys in Discord have lots of stories I missed, which really adds to the context of how the stories and games were made from BioWare or other companies. So it's without you guys, I would not have kept going because I just did my stuff. I said what I wanted. I walked away, and you guys kept replying to do other things, and that's how it keeps going. So,
sorry, just to point out, someone was saying that they couldn't swear in chat. I seem to be doing it fine, but I don't know if it's because I'm a mod.
can you swear? Yeah, fine. All right.
Can I swear? Fuck! Yeah, I'm fine, yeah. I can do it.
Alrighty. Joseph Kerwin again. The subjects of inclusive fandoms go mainstream and die. Subjects of exclusive fandoms with bad hygiene stay small and live forever. Huh. Interesting.
No, don't have bad hygiene because I don't want to smell you when I'm.
As much as I love what you love, just not through my.
Unless you're playing Nurgle Chaos and you're cosplaying.
Here's Bogue again. Imagine being a casual surgeon or officer. I always give the analysis or the analogy of, a doctor passes his exam. It's good. He's a doctor. We have a new doctor in the field, but that doesn't tell us how he passed his exam. Did he get an 80%? Did he get an 85%? If you got an 85%, it's still a pretty good mark, but that means there's 15% of something he doesn't know. So would you want to go to a doctor like that? Maybe, maybe not. Here's John Lemley again. Casuals are the Rainfields. The Renfields. The glib fascist. Oh dear.
I love them Dracula references. Big fan.
Oh jeez.
Love Dracula.
All right. Joe Crazy. Nothing says gatekeeping fascist. Oh, I don't know where that's a thing. More than a guy who paints miniatures. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, the guy that paints miniatures is really he's gonna come out there and hit you with some sort of anti-riot gear for being in the store. What's he doing here? I don't know him.
No, there will never be a Kingdom Hearts plot analysis. That is probably physically impossible.
I don't know why I'm being added for this, but apparently you should change the on-screen chat to live chat.
When I include it into the software I'm using, it defaults to that, but the link from the live chat is exactly the same. So when YouTube gives me the link to add, that's what it is. It says live chat on the live feed. It says live chat in the software. It just does not say it on the screen for whatever reason. Don't ask me why. So it should be live chat. If it isn't, I apologize, but I have no.
So top chat you can't see. So I can see swearing in live chat, but I can't see it in top chat.
I would have to research that a bit more. There's really no other control I can press to do that.
So you can swear, you just can't see it in top chat.
Yeah, I could try including it one more time. I don't think it's going to change anything. Let me just try it one night. Okay, just waiting for the pop-up. Okay, so now it says live chat. And let me just go down to my software. Let me add it.
I'm sure it's not that important. We don't really need to see swearing that badly.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't really do anything. Let me just refresh the chat. Yeah, it doesn't. It just defaults again to top chat, but there's really nothing I can do. Anyway, thanks for I'm doing what best I can, but I'd have to research that. There's really nothing other buttons I could press there, guys. Anyway, one more super chat. Okay, Joe Crazy. I would pay for a Kingdom Hearts plot. Don't say that. Please don't say that. Kingdom Hearts is a gigantic series, and it's a giant. I wouldn't even call it a mess.
It's a mess.
It's beyond. It's something like.
Okay, it's
like spaghetti. It's just like
it's a
what?
Black hole.
It's like black ink spaghetti. Yeah, just like this massive mass of crap. I can't follow this. Imagine taking Marvel and DC, slamming them together, making it a video game, and then having like 20 of them. And I'm like, I can't follow this.
It's an incomprehensible Rorschach test.
It is horrible. I don't think it's worth anyone's sanity. And there's much better games out there to talk about. So, anywho, 17:30. We've got 8 more minutes. We're good. Let's go.
That has caused so much. problems in recent years. And while the movie gets rid of a lot of that, there's some perplexingly gendered exceptions.
What?
There's this moment when H makes fun of Wade's haircut, for instance, saying that it looks like it's from There's Something About Mary.
Oh, but you still had enough to pay for that something about Mary hairdo.
There's something
Which,
about
you know,
Mary
is
Sue.
Totally.
Wait.
No, what's he saying about that comment? I want to hear what he's saying about the comment.
Maybe go back a little bit just so we can kind of get the full context.
When H makes fun of Wade's haircut, for instance, saying that it looks like it's from There's Something About Mary.
Oh, but you still had enough to pay for that something about Mary hairdo.
Which, you know, is totally uncool, guys, because that's like for girls. Again.
No, it's not. Something About Mary is a romantic comedy.
It's also like, it's just a reference that his hair looks like Cameron Diaz's hair when she has like paint spilled on her head. It's a joke. It might even be vomit. I can't remember. It's something or other involving like it's just a dumb joke.
It's not vomit.
What if someone said, "Hey, look, that helmet looks like something Darth Helmet would wear, or Dark Helmet from Spaceballs"? It's like, okay, I get it. What's the problem? It's referencing something, saying it looks like something from this thing. What's the problem? It's not.
It's a sexual reference, actually, but it's not a big deal. It's very, very specific, and not too many people watch that because it's a romantic comedy. Was it late '90s or early 2000s? I can't recall.
Late '90s. Cameron Diaz, young Cameron Diaz.
Young Cameron Diaz, yeah. So, again,
there's something about Gary coming to soon to theaters 2021.
2021 can't be any worse than 2020.
Don't say that! Don't jinx it! Knock on wood!
Yeah,
Still can't be worse. It can't possibly be worse.
Yeah. So anyway, the film is not for girls. It's kind of like it's a comedy. It's essentially comedy. I don't know how crude. I can't remember. It was kind of crude, but I guess that was kind of hip back then. I don't know what you call a crude comedy.
Gross out comedy?
Is that a thing? I have no idea. The genres of or subgenres of maybe it is, but yeah, it wasn't like something you take the girlfriend to. It's just sort of a funny rom-com with some gross elements. But that's like anything nowadays. I don't know.
It's like Revenge of the Nerds or Along Came Polly.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's not as crude, but yeah, I'd say it's up there. Yeah, like I wouldn't put like Adam Sandler crude, but it's around there. Here's John Lemley. Thanks again. How much for a BioShock franchise plot analysis? Hey, there's an idea. Especially factoring in what Infinite and the DLC did to retcon everything. Whew, that's a good one. You see, that's worthy of my attention because that's 3 games plus DLC. Very well done games, interesting storylines, lots of good themes, lots of good characterizations, great play-by-play sort of drama. Yeah, I would consider that. I think that would work. Because again, there's very few games I work with. Usually it has to do with voice acting, cutscenes. There's a centralized plot, stuff like. Other games that don't have a centralized plot, I just sort of shy away from. That's why I was okay with doing Deus Ex, centralized character, centralized plot, as a sequel, voice acted, choices matter. Like those are great stuff. Same with Alpha Protocol, great ideas. So, but yes, I would consider doing BioShock for sure. Joe Crazy, but Smud, your friends are your power. Yes, the message of every anime ever. That's great. So yeah, no, I would not touch Kingdom Hearts, but BioShock for sure. After I get my new computer, at least.
Let's go.
Yes, not like all this totally mature guy stuff, like He-Man. But in retrospect, that moment is really weird considering that H is a woman. So is she pretending to hate that movie as a way to fit in with the rest of geek culture? Or does she actually have a grudge against a...
Why are you gendering this woman? Why can't
you
she
can
like...
have girls who are not into like girly girl things, and you have girls who are into like more tomboy things. It's like, does everyone have to fit into a stereotype with Just Right? Like, you can never have anyone that goes outside of these stereotypes.
And what's wrong with a girl liking There's Something About Mary?
Oh my goodness. Sex joke. That's problematic.
How can this girl be so feminine and not feminine? It's like,
how can she be sexist?
That's right. Doesn't do his research.
Her big titties are just distracting. I can't stand it.
It's Something About Mary is a comedy like Along Came Polly. Like it's a comedy.
Sword-like weapon.
Yeah.
so I did.
I haven't seen it. I looked at the comments and they were roasting him about it. They were just like, Just Right. Do you do your research at all? That and the Holy Hand Grenade.
Well, to be fair, this is a complicated movie to get all the references, but when they say the name, what was that, Shiny?
I was gonna say you need a really high IQ to understand Ready Player One.
Right. I just recall I did do a video on Bioshock. Was it Bioshock Infinite? I think it was. I didn't give it very high praise, but I think that was enough to satiate me to not continue to do anything else. So,
well, Smud, I think it obviously needs a higher IQ than whatever Just Right has. If he doesn't understand it.
Alrighty.
Okay, so I'll correct my statement. You need an IQ higher than Just Right to understand this
Let's
film.
not bash Just Right on his potential
Which
IQ.
is probably about 98%.
Yeah, he's not stupid. He's not stupid. He's just covering up for things that don't go along with his theory.
Yeah, this is the common element of all of these artists on YouTube. They just have this philosophy and it doesn't adhere to it, and they have to keep pushing it. And you're like, dude, stop. It's not worth it.
No, I just like being mean to people. I don't actually know if he's
okay, that's fine.
I just think
that's fine.
like it's banter. Come on.
Here's
I'm
John.
mean to Glib. There's nothing between friends.
Here's John Lenley. Internalized misogyny times Just Right type beat. Thinking about.
I don't know what that beat would sound like,
Yeah.
but 0 out of 10.
0 out of 10. Thanks for the score there, Glib. John,
yeah, numbers are perfectly good for reviewing content. I use numbers all the time.
Mr. X, girls must like this or sexism. Just wrong.
Very true.
I don't know.
So true. Look, if you do anything that Just Right thinks women don't like because he's an expert on women, then it's sexist.
Hey, you want to know?
Knows.
You want to know what a trans allegory is? It's this scene right here. Forget the Matrix. This is a girl playing a guy. There's your
wow,
trans.
it's a girl playing a guy.
There's your trans allegory, Wachowskis.
Well, I like that. I actually really enjoyed and wanted that in the movie when I read that in like 2001. I was like 10, and I was thinking, yeah, it makes sense that this guy would be playing a girl in the Matrix world. I mean, I've seen that many times. I knew a guy that was straight, male, whatever, and he always played women. And I was like, I don't know, why is that? He's like, oh, I can look at the ass. I thought that was really funny.
The argument was, if you're going to be staring at someone's behind for 8 hours, however long you play, make it
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just
looking behind.
And then my perspective was, I like being the character. I like role playing as the character. So I will play random people just to switch it up. You know what I mean? Oh, now my character today is going to be a 17-year-old Asian guy who's leaving his home to go out on an adventure. Or I'm going to role play Fallout as a 64-year-old black man. Why not? Because I'm bored. That's why I find creativity from people that are just trying to gesticulate at virtue really boring, because it's like anybody can come up with that. Anybody can come up with any combination of anything if you it's just additive. You go, okay, he's from Tibet, he's bisexual, and what else? He is a gender studies major. Boom. I did it, guys. Progressive character.
It implies that there is creativity.
But let's have a stereotype. There we go. We're done.
We did it.
And then
Bravo.
we just paint the film as progressive, and there we go. We're done.
You see, that guy is actually a man in the real world, but he's a woman in the video game world. It's so deep. It's so relatable.
Or just have a black stereotype child soldier, because reasons.
I would say that quote from Wachowski is probably worse than J.K. Rowling's explaining Dumbledore is gay. It's just so silly. The whole film is an allegory. It's like, really? Okay.
Or how she said that wizards apparently pooped on the floor in the Middle Ages and then just destroyed it with magic.
Yeah, I mean, say what you want about her trans crap, because I don't really care about that. It's when you start changing your actual narrative, you're like, you didn't write that. It's not in there. Stop it. Stop talking.
Glib, I have a question for you. Can you appreciate a girl's bell end?
No, I can't, actually. I cannot appreciate that. You're going to have to go to a different auctioneer.
Sorry. I was trying to make you fall for that. I didn't know if any Americans knew
I'm
what I
not
meant.
buying what you're selling, Shiny.
Shiny, you are barking up the wrong proverbial tree, my dear. I have spent a great deal of time digesting the cesspool you call British culture.
Never mind.
You're so crazy.
You can't look at what's not there.
Okay. Kingdom
I
Hearts.
just wanted to get in a trap where you'd say, yo, yeah, I can appreciate a bell end, thinking it meant ass or something.
I fucking love girls that have bellends. I ride them all day long.
But hey.
Okay. Joe Crazy. Kingdom Hearts quote of the day, and I have no idea what this is of. No, Xeon. Who else will I have ice cream with? I don't even want to know what the heck you're talking about, sir. I'm glad that is not part of my geekdom, but thank you for that wonderful reference. Tyler Preston, because it's impossible for girls to like guy stuff. Exactly. It's just not. It just can't happen.
I've never met a girl that likes Star Wars. They're not even exist. They don't exist.
Does not exist.
We're just gonna kill them.
Let's keep going, shall we? We got like 30 seconds in. We should probably keep going.
Okay.
A 40-year-old com, or is the fact that she references a chick flick supposed to be foreshadowing the reveal that she is in fact a chick? I could give the movie the benefit of the doubt on that one if it didn't happen a second time, because it's supposed to be a joke that the bad guy reads Nancy Drew.
The complete Nancy Drew.
You're a big old baby if you like it, because that's for children, not like Batman.
Wait. What? Nancy Drew is a young adult story for girls, the same way the Hardy Boys is a young adult story for boys. There's nothing wrong with reading both. In fact, I did do both. So, what's wrong with reading a young adult story for kids or for young adults and you're an adult?
It's in there for like 5 seconds.
I download all kinds of books on my phone. Sometimes I read them, sometimes I don't. They're all different genres.
You know, I have Chuck Wendig novels behind me. It doesn't mean I like them.
I have Framing Monsters right next to me. The worst book I've ever read in my life.
That is your fault, sir.
I know, because I want to get some videos out of it.
That is
But
just...
Sometimes you get a really shit gift, and someone thinks, "Oh, look, you like Star Wars novels. What about Star Wars Aftermath?" And then it's like, no.
And then you got out a stapler, and then you hold up the book to their head, and then you smack them on the head with the stapler.
What you do
That's
is
what you look like.
I pull out a lighter, and I also pull out some really strong, like pure ethanol. Just rub it all over the book and just set it alight.
Nice.
Man, which is for us. Man, there's a lot of references to Batman in here.
Yes, because Batman's
All right,
awesome. Shut
Warner
up.
Brothers. So the underlying message of both versions of the story is that there are right things to like and there are wrong things to like. And also, there's a right way to like them and a wrong way to like them. The right stuff to like is explicitly made for boys, and the right way to like them is to know all the facts about them without caring at all about the deeper themes of their stories. Because neither version cares all that.
Even if you dislike or like certain things, why are themes part of that at all? Why do I have to care about the theme of love in The Princess Bride? What's the I can enjoy it for a film as a piece of entertainment, and the references are fun. What's wrong with that?
Are a neutral quality. They exist in everything. Doesn't matter how poorly written it is. They exist. They just are.
Here's Alex Hale. I'm not surprised the NPCs have demanded several anime characters that are traps be trans, even when characters say they are male. What? You're telling me there's people online don't like cute boys in anime because they don't call themselves trans? What? Those are two different things.
Because the whole trap meme and jokes that have been going around the internet, they think traps are like transphobic.
No, they're just traps. That's all they are. They like to dress up as girls and act very feminine. That's fine.
It's specifically kind of like are traps gay kind of.
Sure. Who cares about their sexuality? They look exactly the way they want. That's fine.
No, it's are traps gay, specifically referring to the people who do like traps.
That's fine. Like, again, who cares what you call them?
But I'm just describing the mentality.
Yeah, it's just a silly argument.
There are retarded people in the world.
This is what happens when you have ideology cloud your judgment.
But we now know that Smud's official stance on traps, they are fine.
They are fine, yes.
Oh wow! I can't even believe it. This is degeneracy.
I can't believe I'm
unbelievable.
with him right now. Or sorry, the same call. I'm sorry. Smud's opinions are very offensive to me.
You should see my appreciation for snake women. Oh my god,
snake women.
You're scaly. Get him.
Okay, I get it. I see how it is. You want a woman to be a big penis. That's what you want, isn't it? Freud.
I want a scaly one. Yeah, that's how it works. Oh my!
Ooh,
all right, John Lemley. Are you going to do your impression of what was his name? Mr. Star Trek Sulu. There we go. Thank you very much. John Lemley. Ready Player One has no JoJo Bizarre Adventures references 0 to 10. That's a perfectly valid argument. If you don't have JoJo, what's the point of doing pop culture reference? JoJo is the king, maybe the queen of pop culture references. It's amazing how many influences JoJo has had over the years. So, yeah, it's a wasted opportunity there, Mr. Spielberg. You're out of touch with the kids. Here's Bogue again. Smud, please answer. Futas with balls or no balls? You got to have balls, okay? There's no other way nature works. If you're going to combine two parts of nature, do it right or not at all. Okay? Very
You have
simple.
to go all the way.
You know, you got to have your insemination fluid from somewhere. They're either internal or I don't believe it. So they got to be external. Got to have balls. Okay? Write that down. Gemini Samimi? I thought it was sashimi, but okay, fine. The peen just makes it better. It does. It just does. That's life, guys.
We now know what Smud's into. Well, let's keep going.
I'm just saying what's right and wrong. I don't know whether I like it or not. This is how it should be done. All right.
Not much about the implications of what they're using. Just that they're there for the sweet, sweet burst of recognition that them being their causes. And I get the fact that, we should be allowed to just innocently enjoy a big smash 'em up with all your favorite characters. And movies like the Lego Movie pull that off fantastically. But I just can't with this movie. I mean...
So it's okay, but I can't do it because... Let's find out.
It's basically artistic vandalism to put the Iron Giant in this movie the way they did.
Because the Iron Giant's in there, therefore they can't do it. This is the the golden calf you can possibly throw away. This is your thing so precious to you.
I think their argument. I think what the argument that Just Right is making is kind of the argument that the Iron Giant is an anti-gun message, and they're just turning him into a giant gun, and they don't like that.
Well, the thing is that it's not actually the Iron Giant himself. It's someone using him as an avatar.
Exactly.
It's not actually him.
Yeah.
But to say, oh yeah, Lego Movie can do this, but Ready Player One, then I'm not allowing this. Oh, let's call it a double standard there, Mr.
I think because the Lego Movie is not actually showing a visual, realistic representation of the Iron Giant. It's a Lego version. Therefore, it's cutesy. It's stylized.
It doesn't have an Iron Giant.
Well, no, I'm just saying because it is a comic or an animation.
Really, they do have the Iron Giant, and that's the problem. The context of how they're using
that is such a that's like saying, oh, you know this reference to Commander Shepard that's on the screen for like 2 seconds, therefore it's bad because they have Shepard. It's like that's not an argument, buddy. There's hundreds of references in this film, and you're pissed off because
they have Commander Shepard going to war, but he's against the Reapers, not this person. It's against his character.
Yeah,
they actually have Shepard in here. Pretty cool.
Yeah, female Shepard. Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Again, Gemini Samimi, Smud, you are a man after my own heart. Sneck girls are best girls. There's they're up there. I don't have favorites. They're up there. Bogue, Lego Movie is greater than Ready Player One. I agree with this. Yeah, I think the Lego Movie works more efficiently for what it's doing.
Tron 1 is better than Ready Player One.
Tron 1
references. It's actually got a plot, and it actually has characters and development for those characters.
Very similar to the first Dune film in the late 70s. I'm surprised that the Tron movie got made. It's just so strange and so weird and so unique that someone said, we're going to keep going. Keep going. I'm impressed. As a kid, I couldn't follow the film at all, but, I like the bikes. And I like the disc fighting. That was neat.
I like Tron Legacy's soundtrack and its visuals, but Tron's story I thought was pretty all right. Like the visualization or a humanization of the computer system. Yeah, that's all right. But this is just like bland. It's just so bland, yeah. And it's all ADD and the camera angles are weird. It's fucking dislike Ready Player One a lot.
Yeah, I'm only familiar with Tron because of Bruce Boxleitner from Babylon 5, but that's where my geekdom rides a lot, or sits a lot of the time. All right, one more.
I've seen Tron Legacy personally, and I quite liked it, but it's just like it's an action movie. It doesn't really have that much substance to it.
Yeah, the plot does sort of get lost here and there. So. Here's Alex Halo. I wasn't surprised they called the character you were talking about trans. I meant sorry, and the others about futa. Something in Entai, balls or no. Okay. You're welcome. No harm, no foul.
What can I say except you're welcome?
Yeah. No judgment here. We, whatever you like.
No, I will judge you very thoroughly.
Oh, that's fine. That's Johnny. You have your bias towards Star Wars, so we accept everything from you, Johnny. It's okay. Once you admit that, it's like, all right, no problem. All right, 19 minutes, 15 seconds. Keep on going.
Movies like the Lego Movie pull that off fantastically, but I just can't with this movie. I mean, it's basically artistic vandalism to put the Iron Giant in this movie the way they did. They originally wanted to use Ultraman like they did in the books, but they couldn't get the license for it, so since it's Warner Brothers, they just tossed in Iron Giant because they own that property. Never mind that Ultraman was a character who fights aliens and Mechagodzilla is an alien in one version, so that at least made sense, while Iron Giant is his own creature who is supposed to be an anti-gun symbol. Ironically, when it comes to art, nothing is sacred.
How dare the license holder use the license any way they see fit? Oh, that's horrible. And
Even in the context of the world, this is fine because it's you have people playing antagonists. They're wearing antagonist
suits,
avatars, but they're actively fighting with the good guys because they're actually just people in avatars. Like you can have the characters in this whole battle here. They would never partake in this battle, but it's the context of the world that these actually aren't these characters means that it works within the context of the world because they are just everyday people playing these avatars.
Yeah, imagine avatars were Second Life, like fully realized as whatever you made, and you could take references from other stories or games. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And that's the context. We know that, and he's pissed off because he's fighting and he doesn't like fighting. It's like, what is your argument, sir? They're in a...
Toshi Danny said it right. It's just like someone playing Iron Giant in VR chat.
Yeah.
That's the whole movie.
Yeah. This is essentially VR chat the movie, and it's just somebody wearing a skin. It doesn't matter.
It's like VR chat, but 20,000 times more advanced and bigger. And it's the entire world.
You have a friggin' Chucky grenade doll thing. Chucky ain't a hero.
Like, would he be pissed off?
Chucky's a crazy...
If it was Mary Poppins, and just giant Mary Poppins just like flying around and stomping on, like, would he be pissed off? Oh, how dare you do that to Mary Poppins character? It's like, it's an avatar. Don't worry.
But whatever, we all love and recognize Iron Giant, so why not needlessly tease how awesome it's going to be to see him later on, and then indulge in all the destruction he can cause, and then paste another pop culture reference onto him when they need to take him out of the plot. Remember Terminator? We didn't have the rights to Terminator.
No, it's still need to take him out of the plot, is that they actively used him as a bridge.
Remember berries? Do you remember them? Everything in this story is stripped of its meaning and diluted. There's a plot device they call the Zemeckis Cube, named after the director of Back to the Future, which can turn back time because, hey, remember Back to the Future? Never mind that Rubik's Cube play no part at all in that franchise, so using one here creates a moment that feels
point
like
out
it
that
should
the
be
member
signifying
berries was
something, but it isn't signifying anything. That's what all these references...
I'm trying to remember... One of the things that they actually reference very heavily with the member berries is The Force Awakens, and what's just right's position on Force Awakens.
He doesn't like it.
No, he doesn't like it. No.
Oh, I thought he was one of the people that did like it.
No.
He loves The Last Jedi, but he finds like The Force Awakens to be not very interesting.
Oh, okay. I knew he liked The Last Jedi. I didn't know about The Force Awakens. Okay, fine.
He thinks that he knows more than the audience. He knows more than all the rest of us. And it's frustrating because it's like, yeah, we know that Ready Player One is an entirely shallow movie. We get it. So what?
He's saying like, the book had terrible themes and needed a Starship Troopers style overhaul.
It's pretty much.
I don't even understand. I don't understand what Just Right's purpose is. What is he trying to do? Is he trying to tell us the best way to write something? Is he trying to be his namesake and say, just get out there and write? Is he trying to say, this is what you should learn and avoid this and all that kind of stuff? What are we doing here?
I'm still trying to understand his logo because I understand it's supposed to be like JW for Just Right, but I really can't see the J in there.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it just looks like a weird sperm.
Yeah, kind of does. Just Right's barometer of quality is very inconsistent.
I think once we understand the context of a story is sensationalistic, then you say, oh, this is all there is. We get it. That's fine. And you can say
he's like... Sorry, go on.
Yeah, once you grasp the depth of something, it's like, okay, don't expect anything more. Yeah, I wish Iron Giant didn't go around stomping on things. It would be within his character. It would be more referential. I get it. Guess what? They're not doing that. Too bad. Live with it.
And it's not even important to the story.
No, it's not.
Like there are lots of things to criticize within the story. Lots of problems. Criticize those, please.
But
stop making us defend this film.
Because his golden calf is put on the screen in fighting. Therefore, bad movie.
So, The Last Jedi is a member berry for Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back.
No, but it subverts
So-
it because it's different. Because it's somehow subtly different in this negative way. Because it flipped the switch. That's why he likes it, and he also likes Last of Us too. I mean, he's just, there's two things that he does. He does these things where he's educating people, and he's like, "This is what you should be doing. This is what," and then he uses his opinion, and he goes, "I don't like this. I don't like this." And I understand that. That's what a critic is supposed to do. But I'm just trying to figure out what is the proof in the pudding. Why is Sage or whatever his name is correct about this? I haven't heard.
It seems to me.
What are we getting at here?
Just from the context that I know, just right that he's kind of just tries to go the opposite of what the popular opinion is.
No, it's not that simple. I think he has some sort of modus operandi, but he never reveals what it is that he considers to be good in general. There's not like a general connectivity between all of these things. It's like whatever is at the time the expression. That's what he's going to express. He went from making comments about flaws and stuff to trying to be more educational. I appreciate that, but I'm just confused about what it is that we're getting at here, because we've been talking about things that have nothing to do with writing, almost that have to do with culture and stuff. It's kind of frustrating.
Nothing to do with the writing of the film itself.
No, but now it's good. I mean, it's like, yeah, of course. Remember this. Like, yeah, the first thing that I saw was a barrage of nostalgia, and that's why people hated the movie. I'm surprised we needed a YouTube video for that.
Like, he doesn't necessarily go against the popular opinion, since he hated Game of Thrones. Pretty much everybody else on the face of the planet hated Game of Thrones on season 8. He hated the Hobbit movies. He loves Black Panther. He loves Harry Potter to a certain extent, though he has since changed the thing on his Harry Potter reviews from how J.K. Rowling writes mystery to how a TERF writes fan mystery.
Oh, jeez. Okay, he puts his politics in front of his biases. We get it. That's part of who he is.
Right.
Fine. Not very useful to the rest of us, but okay. Let's keep on going. Bogue, not enough Ugandan nucks, okay, and lowly cat girls for VR chat. You know what? I don't think there's enough Kekistan representation in this film, so yeah. How far back do you want to go?
I'm pretty sure Kyrgyzstan is dead.
I don't know. Pepe's pretty popular. He's always around.
But that's different to Kyrgyzstan.
I think it's been around for at least a decade, so.
I haven't heard of Kyrgyzstan in a long time.
Really? Okay. Here's Joe Crazy. True VR has Hank Hill as an anime schoolgirl? Really? Is that a thing?
True VR chat has never been tried, let's be honest.
I thought that True VR was an actual thing, and therefore there's a reference. I have no idea. Guess not. VR is not at the level we expected from the Lawnmower Man movie. Bogue, King of the Hill is peak slice of life anime. I don't know. I think there's a few other slice of life animes out there that I could argue with that. Whether you like them or not, whether they're actually any entertaining, is a whole other ballgame. I don't like those kinds of animes. I think it's a waste of the genre. I think Serial Experiments Lane is a good example. It's just nothing. There's nothing. Slice of life is where you don't have a plot, really. You could, but it's not the focus. It's just person wakes up and does stuff. Repeat. So Serial Experiments Lane, you get this empty sort of existential feeling throughout the entire show. And yeah, there is a bit of a plot. I know people love it for this and that, but it's pretty empty. And I'm trying to go on the actual meaning behind the... It's all love Lane. Thank you. Okay, yeah, there's fans of every anime out there. That's the beauty of anime and manga. There's something for everyone. Some people attach to it very strongly. Others are like me, where we go, meh, nothing special. Anyway, 20 minutes, 48 seconds. We're going okay. Let's keep on going.
Does feel like? Jesus, I'm surprised they're not walking down aisle 42 in this scene so that they can make a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference. Oh, wait.
42's in the background, and the odd numbers are also in the background. So what?
Okay.
The great tragedy of Ready Player One is that it could have been something truly...
Wait, was that just a clip of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory for no reason?
He brings it in. He'll bring it in. It wasn't in. He has a point to it. Just wait.
Okay, because I was like, why do you do that? Okay.
Special. It is special to a lot of people, but to me, it's a premise I wanted to love. It just needed to take one more note from the story that originally inspired it.
What's wrong with that? Fucking idiot!
He wants it to be more like Charlie and the Chocolate
Wonka
Factory.
had been a video game designer instead of a candy maker, and what if he held his golden ticket contest inside his greatest video game
It's a
creation?
boring, dumb plot. It's so
But what
dumb.
made Willy Wonka special was what he valued. He picks Charlie to inherit his chocolate factory not because he knows the most about chocolate.
That's not what
or
made
about
him
business
special
or
either.
about money, but because he was the kindest, the most moral, because he was humble.
Oh,
decided a long time ago that I had to find a child.
that's so fucking
Very
dumb.
honest.
Can you pause it for a second?
Loving.
The thing that makes Charlie and the Chocolate Factory so funny is that it's this heartwarming movie about this orphan that's going through this wonderful event. They're ecstatic. Everything they like is in candy. It's the only thing that they afford that's the enjoyable moment of their day is when he unwraps a plain Wonka chocolate bar. That's his thing, and he shares it with all the people in his family because he cares about these poor people. And then he gets the opportunity to go actually visit this thing, and he's ecstatic because all he wants is to go and enjoy himself. And of course, it's what Sage is saying here, where it's like, yeah, of course, yeah, we have Willy Wonka, and he's looking to replace himself. But the funniest thing about Willy Wonka and his thing is the dark elements. The fact that it's actually a horror movie. It's a wonderful Disneyland horror movie where all of the people that are unworthy get taken out like kids at a summer camp. You know what I mean? So we have multiple elements that are going on. The problem with Ready Player One is that it is a video game movie. Video game movies without the concept of the video game world being an aspect of the real world without expanding into a larger context of it. You don't improve Ready Player One by making it more like Willy Wonka. You improve it by making it more like Deus Ex. You improve it by making it more dystopian. And that this world that they're in is glowy and it's beautiful and amazing. Spielberg presented a world where, and also Ernest Cline or whatever, where people are like in trailer park towers and stuff, the dumbest version of that, not brutalist socialist architecture or corporate overlords or that kind of thing living in an overly congested city. We didn't get that. You need to make this more like something that is horrifying, that has to be overcome. And the actual result has to be something that isn't just games are bad, but they're also good. So play them, except on Thursdays.
Yeah, I think I do agree with that. I think it is to a level a dystopia. It's just not a big focus of the story. Because there is a small element in the film of the corporate overlords, but it's never brought upon as a bigger focus than this small resistance cell and the big IOI company or whatever it is, or 101, or I forgot what it's called now.
Another thing is, like, what is he referencing, the book or the film? Because in the book...
He's referencing the film, I think.
Okay, because in the book, like, Charlie only gets it because he is the only one left. He is the person who did nothing. And whereas in the film, like, they actually gave him, like, something that he needed to do. Like, said, like, no, I'm going to, like, confess and give you back the everlasting gobstopper rather than take it and try and sell it for money. I'm going to be honest.
You know, did he even ever play like the Xbox game of the remake of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
There was a game?
There was an Xbox game, yeah, of the remake.
Oh, yeah, I never heard about that game. I just watched the movie and was like, this is meh. And I saw people talking about it. It's just like, wow, this is really, like, as I look at it, it's just like, oh, this is gross. Like, Johnny Depp, this is not your proudest moment, buddy.
I think I completely avoided that. Like I saw the trailer. I thought, nope, not even going near that thing. So
We should watch it for a movie night sometime just to get the reaction.
oh god, don't come up with these ideas, Dunn. This is not what I want to do with my evenings.
I remember it being fun, but that was like as a child. I don't know how fun it would be today.
Also just kind of weird because you have like Johnny Depp as weird Michael Jackson Willy Wonka.
Ooh. Oh. That does not sound
Billy
right.
Bonker.
You're really weird.
You're really weird. I hated that. I didn't watch that. Yeah. I don't like any of these modern Tim Burton non-physical movies. All the CGI Tim Burton looks absolutely god-awful.
Yeah.
All right. 3 minutes, folks. We can do it.
A child to whom I can tell all my most precious candy-making secrets.
The film has this one moment where Wade realizes that he shouldn't accept Halliday's wealth, but that he should share it with his friends. But the problem
What a
is that
communist!
he's still just trying to win the game. Charlie wins Willy Wonka's contest the moment he stops trying to win it. And so his honesty and selflessness in giving back the gobstopper is a true reflection of his character.
A true reflection of his character. Suck a dick, dude. This is fucking lame.
Charlie. My boy. You won! You did it! You did it! I knew you would! I just knew you would!
What's the difference between Wade and
At the end
Will
of Ready
and
Player
this
One,
kid?
Halliday tells Wade to try and do some good with the wealth he's going to inherit. But Halliday's contest isn't built to weed out the people who would do ill with that wealth. Wade's version of reading art honestly should have been the ideology of the villain
the end
story.
never
The
mind.
person who reads Lord of the Rings and walks away only knowing the names of the elves without applying those deep themes of loyalty to their life.
How does he
What?
not do that?
100
How does he not do that in the actual script? What? Cite your fucking shit. You can't just say that. You can't just have a conclusion where you're like, I'm right, and then not back it up.
Guys, when you watch or read J.R.R. Tolkien and you learn about the elves that are really loyal, and if you don't apply that to your life, I mean, what are you doing?
It's
I just want to read Lord of the Rings because it's an interesting study in world building. When I watch the movies, I want to watch cool action scenes where Viggo Mortensen hits a knife out of the air.
Guys, Harry Potter, remember when he went to... Shut up! It's all the same story. They just keep making the same copy pasta over and over again because it worked. It's Willy Wonka again. It's just shallower because it's done by shallow people. And now it's being reviewed by shallow people. Well done. The deep themes of fucking Willy Wonka. Be a good person. Don't be selfish. Made for children, dude.
I remember on the playground, like all the kids would say Willy Wanka instead of Willy Wonka. So
That's a British thing, not a North American thing. But okay, that's cool.
I've become so disinterested with the video. I'm actually just random trivia, just random things.
Yeah, that's cool. That's fine. But yeah, this is a pretty weak argument. Whenever you watch the J.R.R. Tolkien films, if you don't get the loyalty element from the elves, yeah, you're not watching movies right.
The deeper theme of trying to, like, dude, it's not that deep. It's part of human nature, and people get it. Be a good person. Are there really people out here that you consider to be like fully functioning human beings that are not getting these basic ideas from the movie that are being explicitly presented to you with all this emotional music swells and all of these zoom ins? Sam, Frodo, yeah, we get it. What's special?
You see, Lord of the Rings has some very deep gay themes between
Gay themes.
between Sam and Frodo.
Deep, but gay.
If you don't get the deep gay themes, you're watching movies wrong.
No, you're just a homophobe, Shiny. You don't understand. You hate men.
Using your hetero lenses.
Yeah.
I think the worst part about it is that it's like Just Right is like he's coming across. He's out here and he sounds like his vocal intonations like he's saying something really profound, and he's saying the most basic bitch shit I've ever heard that anybody could tell me. Some 8th grader could tell me this stuff, and I'd be like, yeah, you're right. You're probably right. Feeling and themes, those are important, and if you're not paying attention to the actual meaning of the but he's wrong about the fact that Wade doesn't have the exact same personality type as every other archetypal hero who, I'm just here to do the right thing. I just want to win the thing because I just love the guy that invented the game for me. It's all I cared about. Like, it's the exact same thing every time. It's Luke Skywalker losing Obi-Wan, or it's, Gandalf falling down the hill and the mountain or whatever, and from the inside. And then, oh no, we lost Gandalf. We have to persevere. Take his spirit along with. We all get it. We all get it. It's not special. And improving this element doesn't change the movie. It doesn't make it better. The problem with the movie we've already been over is that it's just a series of nostalgic elements threaded together by copies of other movies. By copying Willy Wonka and stuffing it with Zemeckis cubes and all this horse shit, somehow Ernest Cline convinced a bunch of people that the nostalgia element was worth watching. And that's the primary conceit of the whole thing. It's a stupid movie. It's made by stupid people for stupid people, and now it's reviewed by somebody who is questionable. I'm increasingly questioning their intelligence or their honesty.
So here's this terrifying box art from the Xbox game that Shiny just found. I wish I never saw it, but wow.
I remember the game being fun and quite unique, but then it's like 15 years ago now, I think it's probably been.
Wow. That is special. Okay.
Watch that movie. Okay, chat. Bug Smud to give a reaction to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory from Tim Burton.
We're not doing it. We have other things to do with our life, guys. Come on.
Watch The Room and Sharknado. It can't be worse than those.
Well, The Room has some redeeming qualities for being so silly. It's funny. Or
I'm fed up with this world.
Sharknado is purposely bad.
Also, just as a small anecdote, there's actually a VR game which one tried, the official, I think it is, made by Vive Studios, and it's Ready Player One Oasis Beta, and it actually looks shit. It's got a lot of bad reviews as well. It's only got 400 reviews or something, and it's mixed, and there's a lot of negative ones.
Super Chat Gaming, Smudcast. Is there Super Chat Gaming? I've seen some applications that do it, but I don't know exactly what that involves. So if you guys want a certain interactivity in Super Chat or chat, period, I'll be happy to research it for you, but I don't know. And it's all just come to the channel, tell me what you want, and point me in the direction that you like. And I'll be happy to research it for you. So, yeah, go ahead. Here's Joe Crazy. The deep theme of Joe Dirt is friendship. Oh, isn't that nice? The deep theme. All these deep themes of, the person is nice to another person. It's like every human interaction in any story has to deal with friendship in some capacity.
Oh, let's keep going. We nearly finished with this. And the headache can end.
Yes, and you want to do a whole film. Here's Joseph Kerwin. Can't we have a film where the competent guy wins? The well-intentioned idiot hero is getting old.
Can we have a fucking masculine, strong hero that fucks women? Can we get a dude that is badass, that knows how to spin guns and slash people's heads off again? Why do we have to sit in this mire of people who are so confused about their gender, hate everything about our society, hate all of us? Why do we have to suffer them? They're so fucking annoying. Let's get some badass motherfuckers back in the game. I want pirates. I want ninjas. I want cyborg warriors with giant plasma cannons on their arms. I am bored. I've been sitting in this city for a long time, waiting for the coronavirus to end. There's no new content being made. There's none of this stuff is going on, and we're still debating. Hey, it should be more like Willy Wonka. Like, fuck off. Let's get some good shit in the building.
Oh,
where the hell did that come from?
Glib, you have my books. I have quite a bit of that, especially in Prince of Winter. Plug, plug, plug. You should read it.
Let's adapt Dunn's books. Let's go.
That was
Let's
great. Great segue, Dunn. That was fantastic. Well, Glib, now that you're asked, I have all these books for you.
Glib, you're wrong. We do have new content coming out. We have Star Trek Lower Decks.
They canceled my favorite show on television. They canceled Venture Brothers in the exact moment right before they would have finale'd the show. I'm never going to find out what happened to Hank and Dean, but we're going to greenlight all this nonsense. We're going to greenlight Cuties. We're going to release Mulan. We're going to do all this horse shit. And I have to sit here and take it and not have the only show that I like on air.
Yeah, Glib, because fuck you.
You could also watch, this was not made by me, of course, because I don't have any money. You could watch Frontier. You got Jason Momoa being a frontiersman. Frontiersman in the old-timey fur trade days.
I'm just going to watch reruns of old BBC episodes starring Alec Guinness and George Smiley.
The Last Kingdom, where in the first season, the main guy gets to screw like 3 women.
Sounds good to me.
Jason Momoa.
Last Kingdom, Frontier, highly recommended. Very good shows.
All right, here's Bogue again. I want you 4 to stream Fall Guys. What is Fall Guys?
It's
you don't know what it is?
I don't want to know.
Okay. So it's actually not that bad. I haven't played it myself, but I've seen people play it. Look, Bogue, if you want to pay for all of us here to get the game, then sure, we'll go ahead and do that. But how much would that cost you? And the reason why I'm saying this is because I don't know why I'm saying it's probably too much. Yeah, so it's about £16 each. So if you can fork up £16 for each for 4 of us who don't have the game,
so
by all means,
I don't have a way of playing the game.
Well, you have no way. Okay, then make it 3 then.
All right.
I would watch and be in the conversation and just make jokes. I would do, probably. But
I am actually buying a new computer soon, so it is a possibility I will start streaming some of our games. And you guys can pick them. It's not just always going to be multiplayer third-person or first-person shooters. It could be whatever you like, but I have nothing against streaming games, so why not? Okay.
Yep,
Joe,
we'll do it together.
Yeah, Joe Crazy. We will advocate for a Willy Wonka movie night when we get a Kingdom Hearts game night. No, that's not going to happen. Sorry. That is not. You know how long those games take to play? Kingdom Hearts, all those cutscenes, all these ridiculous stories and quests and sub-quests and...
I only play good games.
Yeah. That's the argument. Only good games, sir. No, none of the bad ones. Only the hardcore Quake 3 players. That's it. That's the only one we play. All right, John Lemley. The deep theme of Forrest Gump is short bus people should be simps who need to marry drug addicts. Oh, dear. Who have communicable diseases.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't really like that movie at all. I think it's pretty actually tone deaf.
It's a bit, yeah. How do we describe
I'm stupid and I'm in the army and you're stupid and I'm in the army. I love shrimp. Fuck that. What is that?
Are we really trying to take life advice from Forrest Gump here? Life is like boxed chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. No. You do know what's in a box of chocolates. It's on the label. It often comes with a little defining thing. Is like, okay, well, this one's gonna be truffle. That one's gonna be orange. That one's gonna be. So you know exactly what you're gonna get. Shut up. Don't get your life advice from Forrest Gump. That's the question. That's the answer. Though.
Don't fall in love with sluts. That's another good lesson. Especially if you know what a slut is. That's always a good thing too. Because
get your life lessons from anime.
Friendship is everything. Oh boy, depending on the anime, of course. Oof. Just don't watch Monster for your life lessons. That's a bit too rough. Joe Crazy, but the bad games have the best reactions.
That's true. That's very, very true.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I have to react to it. Because I have free will.
I don't want to play those games. No thanks.
Just because you're best chat doesn't mean that I'm not the worst host. Okay.
All right.
Worst movies get best reactions, though. I will say that.
This is
best
true.
reaction.
Yeah.
Let's blow this thing and go home.
All right, 2
Yeah.
minutes.
And doesn't recognize what fascism looks like.
Oh my God, the F word. Here we.
He fucking did it, lads! We're all Nazis.
We sure do love
We did
Nazis.
it.
Let me rephrase that.
Okay, Just Right is now officially bad as all the bread tubers. This is pretty much it.
He's left the building.
Yeah, he's been going on about that shit as well, and friggin' Alex Shaw's School of Movies has been like yelling about fascists since 2016, including yelling that Batman and Batman v Superman is a fascist.
Really?
I remember someone saying that Batman v Superman's fascist.
We just watched a video about a guy who loves the film. It was amazing. Amazing depiction of Batman and Superman. Jeez.
If it's all fascist, then why don't I love it? Since I'm obviously some sort of alt-right guy or whatever, right? I should love all this stuff.
Yeah, well.
But it's crap. It's corporate crap for woke idiots.
I don't think.
Well, Glib, it takes one to know one.
Crazy.
Got him.
Oh, defeated.
I don't think the DCEU is for woke crazies. I think it's just for people who
Bad
are
writing.
stupid.
Yeah. The DCEU is definitely for like a very specific type of fan, and I don't understand it. It's for somebody who has this like brooding complex, just like Zack Snyder, who's like, oh my god, the weight of the world is on me. Everything that I do is dramatic and important.
It's like everything is dark for the sake of being dark. No actual substance to it.
Remember his argument about
Aquaman and Shazam are not very broody at all. They kind of are.
Well, that's because they weren't done by Zack Snyder. But I think Shazam was actively trying to be a course correction away from the Justice League and Batman vs Superman.
With Aquaman is very unlike either.
Well, I assume that's also a course correction. But the thing is, it's also not well written.
No, it's not. It's a big dumb. It's a Transformers style action movie without the terrible humor.
You know, I would actually rank it better than Transformers. I honestly would.
I think it's better than I think it's better than Transformers because it doesn't have the crappy humor of Transformers and there's less idiot plot to it.
It actually has more likable protagonists. Other than a certain lady who we don't like now.
I love the scene that was chosen about Zack Snyder explaining why Batman doesn't kill, but we have some scenes where, well, I tried to make it so that it's like an accident or the person's actually killing himself. It's like, how about all the scenes where he actively kills people, Zach? How about all those scenes?
Like, you could apply the same logic to, I didn't kill this person. I pulled a trigger on a gun.
Yeah.
The gun then hit this bullet. The bullet then exploded and forced a projectile to kill this person. So, you see, Batman didn't actually shoot this person.
Here's John Lemley. Reject modernity, embrace Willy Wonka. Not the modern way.
I transported the native midgets to be my slave labor force.
After I discovered them in this hole in the ground. Yeah, okay.
All I have to do is feed them chocolate. They love it. They're stupid as fuck. I'm taking complete advantage of these idiots. Isn't that great?
I just feed them chocolate. They're just completely happy with it. How are they not like all just really fat midgets?
It's because he overworks them. He doesn't feed them enough. He feeds them just enough chocolate.
Oh god! Like, what's? Do they also just drink Coca-Cola at the exact same time?
They drink out of that chocolate river, which is actually a sewage river.
Oh no!
Ah.
Billy Bonker.
Why do they even have a chocolate river in the first place?
Because it's fun, Jan.
Because reasons.
It does nothing. It does nothing for the factory, but yet they just have a random chocolate river, and they have sugar grass and sugar plants and chocolate ground, and yeah.
Here's John Lemley.
Like a ton of whipped cream in the remake.
Where they're at cow in order to get whipped cream.
Yeah. That was one of the stupidest puns.
So here's John Lemley. Aquaman has an actor guilty of domestic assault. Really? Jason Momoa is guilty of that? I had no idea.
No, Amber Heard.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah, and she's in the next film, I think.
Apparently,
who knows?
So
I think what an interesting thing about Warner Brothers is they kind of are they're kind of apolitical as a studio. They just kind of let people do stuff, and
They just have a very. I don't think they even care at this point. If you look at the
Joker is like giving the direct middle finger to most politics, especially woke politics.
But just the Warner Bros. In general just seems to not care at all about whatever the hell anyone's doing with their franchise. It's like, hey, yeah, what you did this film, or you know what, fuck it, come on, do our films, even though it's completely the opposite of what the hell our film was about in the first place.
So apparently, it's actually the most grimdark DCEU movie. Also, please stream Cyberpunk. Well, I have to see whether or not the video card I'm going to buy is actually going to be able to support Cyberpunk, but I hope it does.
Just wait for Big Navi. Wait for the release of the 3000 series, because I am willing to bet that you'll be able to get a 2080 Ti equivalent for around $400 or $500 or something from AMD. I think that it's going to be a good budget card. That's what I'm waiting for.
Well, so far the current is the 2060 is the budget card for the RTX series.
But don't buy one right now, because they just announced the Ampere series.
3000,
it's much better.
3000.
Yeah, it's much better. So everything else is going to go down in price, and then AMD they're going to release later this year or maybe 2021. I'm not sure, but that all the prices should be going down based on that of the older cards, and then also the newer cards will be a bigger leap, especially from the AMD section.
Oh, just because we were on topic of Amber Heard a little bit ago. Well, the thing that really pisses me off, like it really gets on my nerves, is like the way the BBC were trying to portray Amber Heard as like the victim on like live news.
Yeah, because it's an agenda. They want to push their agenda. It's one statement. Men are bad. White men are bad. Rich white men are bad. Women are great. Minorities are great. Everything's great unless the only people that are keeping you down are this white supremacist. That's their agenda.
Other than the left, when they claimed that Jason Momoa was a pedophile just for hugging his kids after there was a party in his honor in his hometown.
That's when you realize somebody needs to be stomped into the ground a little bit. Just a little bit.
I hated when
wait, what? Someone tried to say Jason Momoa was a pedo for hugging his children?
Well, they say that Trump is a pedophile because of a picture of his daughter sitting on his lap or his knee or whatever. So it's like, of fucking course. They are projecting beyond reasonable amounts, man. Anybody in the media that's accusing somebody of something like that, I want to look at their search history.
I don't think Trump's pedophile, but he has said some really weird things about his daughter. Just because
he said that she was beautiful, and that if I were like whatever, then I would date her. That's what people found weird. And I don't think that's weird.
It is weird.
No, it's not. I don't think it's that weird. She's pretty. She's smart. She's awesome. That's what he's saying.
But if you actually listen to the way he's saying it, he sounds weird. It's weird.
If you weren't the dad, then you would objectively find his daughter attractive, which everybody does.
They even say in the clip that no, shut up, that's weird. Like his wife. It's just because he's. I'll be completely honest. I think Trump's an idiot. That's just my.
He's a very rich man that works at the top of a building and doesn't give a crap what he says. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that weird to say that somebody in your family, that they're attractive, and that if you weren't related, that they would be a worthy person to be with. I really don't think that that's weird, because it's not real. It never will be real.
It's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's
okay, guys. That's a different channel here discussion.
But see, I'm just saying, Shiny, what you're doing is you're doing what the media does. They go this one thing, oh, he's an idiot. We could do that about every single person that's ever existed.
Well, no,
I could take one of anybody's comments and be like, that's weird. I could take my own comments and say that.
I would also call myself an idiot at some point, but I don't think that Trump is bad, and I don't think he's good. I think he's a normal, also not normal, but I think he's a person. And people,
I won't shut up, Toasty Danny. I'm gonna make you shut up, boy. No, I'm just kidding.
He's a person, people say stupid things, but I kind of think that Trump in general just says the first thing that comes to his head, and he doesn't have any kind of mental block between what he's thinking and what he's saying.
That's most people on Twitter.
Yeah, I would agree, but I'd say Trump isn't particularly smart with how he says things. I'll narrow it down, because you can be smart in certain areas, but you can also like self-awareness. You can be smart in certain areas, but then dumb in other areas. But the way he portrays himself specifically and what he says, that's what I think is an idiot about him. He's not very good at thinking before he talks. There you go.
Doesn't people very well.
And yeah, an idiot is a very general term. I'll narrow it down for people who don't like me talking shit about Trump.
All right, let's keep going. Joseph Kerwin, Oompa Loompa making chocolate while starving. They eat chocolate. They're not starving. They're just very specific for their dietary needs.
It's the cocoa beans.
Diabetes now.
It's the beans. They love the cocoa beans. But again, this is a sort of childish romp through a horror scenario that's dressed up like Disneyland with a crazy man who actually underneath it has a specific interest in providing people with the best value for their dollar, which is funny. That's great. But I don't think that, and I agree with Sage here, that's not really the story that's in Ready Player One, but it is what they're trying to do. And I think even going further in that direction just makes it more of a ripoff. And I find that amazing that's what's being advocated here. You know that copy pasta that you made in a book form? We're going to make a movie about that. But it would be good if it was even more of a ripoff. I'm like, what are we doing here? This movie should never have been made, and the book should never have been written. It should never have been popular because it's stupid. But it just shows where we are with literature. The fact that this is a bestseller is pathetic.
One weird thing about it is that my little sister, who's like fairly left-leaning, loves the book and doesn't like the movie very much, which is so strange to me.
Interesting. That is interesting, yeah. It's a weird read. I mean, some of the chapters are just so off. The masturbation scene was just like, okay, this is too much. Ernie, you've gone too far. But it's pretty blatant, like blatantly geeky. And if you don't get it, like you're not going to enjoy the book. So, oh boy, more John Lemley. Hello, sir. You got a sister-in-law you'd smash? I got 4 of them. The future leader of the free world.
So we're third cousins? That's far enough.
Yeah, far enough.
Well, if you live in certain states in America.
Oh man, that was a good one. We got a Jamie Lannister in the chat, baby.
I'd cut my arm off to be with you, baby.
Here's more John Lemley. The reason Trump is hated for his communication is because people have been told that being presidential is to tell beautiful lies that mean nothing.
Absolutely.
I don't even think that's the way. No, I don't even think that's the reason why people don't like Trump. I think just people don't like him because of purely, not because of like he's not telling beautiful lies, but because just they're told that he's this absolutely horrible racist person by like the media, for example, or he's very antithetical to their political beliefs. So therefore, they just do nothing but try to slander and strawman him.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know if he gets elected again. I think we're going to see another boom to the economy. But that's just
I can't fucking wait.
It's
gonna be so great. I'll be able to go outside again.
Yeah.
I'm not making any predictions on if Trump's going to get in or not because I don't think I have enough information to judge if he is or isn't. Because you got to remember that when you get into a certain mindset of how you view things in the world, is that you're often looking at it from a very small pool. And that's kind of what happened when people who didn't support Trump in 2016, they were looking at it and thinking, "There's no way Trump can win.
Yes.
There's no way." And then, oh, look, he won, and no one was expecting it because they just couldn't fathom it. because they were only looking at things in a certain lens and making these predictions based on such a small amount of information that they had.
I'm going to say that he's going to win because we're talking about him on a video that has nothing to do with him. Meanwhile, if we were to bring up Biden, it would be to make a joke about dementia. I'm going to say he's going to win based on that alone. Just to pull us out of this political tailspin that I know most people don't really enjoy because they're sick of hearing about it. I'm absolutely sure that there are people out there that are like, oh no, they're talking about politics. I just want my media. I just want to grill you guys.
Chat is doing just fine bringing it back to media, so we're okay. Chat's good.
Stop trying to escape in your media. You can't escape reality.
Here is Bogue. Just tried to gift Fall Guys. How do you do that? Can't because of regions? What? What's going on?
Oh, trying to do it on Steam, I guess. I never had a problem with doing regions on Steam.
Okay, but I can't play any games because, again, my computer's on the fritz. So no video editing, no games, nothing complicated. I can't.
You know, I didn't actually think that you were going to try and gift it. I was more just saying, look, they're not going to do it. Therefore, we don't have to play Fall Guys. Yay!
Never even heard of this game before this moment in time.
Well, that's just because you live under a rock. I haven't played it, but I've definitely heard of it. Like, there are people in my comments telling me to play it. It's like, no, I don't want to. I don't care. Leave me alone.
I've heard the name Fall Guys, but I don't know anything about it. I don't even I've heard it vaguely mentioned, but I don't know what it is. It's just okay. Fall Guys.
Let me just get it. Jay did a good video on it. Let me find it.
All right, let's keep going. Joseph Kerwin, Willy Wonka, a story about a boy who avoided industrial accidents by following the rules and survived to win the factory.
When I started my first job at Amazon, they actually played this during the OSHA presentation for safety. They said, don't go near the chocolate river because I'm in Amazon, and avoid the time machine thing and the great glass elevator.
Obviously, they never played JonTron's work safety video in Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
Oh. It's a pretty psychedelic movie, aside from all the other weird elements in it. But, yeah. I remember watching that every year in grade school.
What the heck? That just looks boring and lame.
What is Fall Guys? I still don't know.
Well, it's right there. I just sent you a link. You can look at it after. There you go.
All right, thanks, Shiny.
I will touch those squirrel nuts, or master. You can't stop me. Okay.
Okay.
I will steal from the squirrel. That is how I will fund my own candy factory. I'm going to pay my slave labor in acorns.
Is this what these guys want us to do? They play Fall Guys together in a multiplayer or something?
Yeah, I know you can play it multiplayer as a group. Well, the whole game is multiplayer, but yeah, you can play it with friends.
Okay, well, we'll probably do it at one time or another. But
yeah,
if not, I'll buy it for all you guys. We can all play together. Yay! Okay.
What
anyway,
we should probably do is we should try more game nights because we're running out of videos to cover. We could just do something fun where we're just hanging out and having a laugh.
We can each stream game night with every streamer. We could rotate. That'd be great. That'd be fine. Anyway, John Lemley, we got to keep going here. Just consume just right. Yeah, I know. It's kind of... And make sure you find the themes, because if you don't have the themes, it's worthless, right? No themes.
The themes
no story.
of... I'm trying to think of something else now. God damn it.
It wasn't like what I wanted, therefore it is bad.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fall Guys uses lots of very colourful colours. And
colorful colors.
It's occasionally amazing and efficient.
Occasionally triumphant.
People don't see the colourful metaphors and themes within the colours of Fall Guys, and the way they use blue and pink. It's honestly very metaphoric of transgenderism.
Ooh, nice. Very good, Shiny. Bravo.
Well done.
You didn't include the F word, but it's still pretty good.
Well, Fall Guys has an F in it.
Therefore,
it also has an A. And if you put the S on after the A, you could have fash. And you also need the H from somewhere. I don't know where you get the H. But fash is short for fascist. Therefore, Fall Guys is
A
fascist.
little overtly fashy. It's a little overtly fashy.
Fall Guys is about bashing the fash.
Is it really though? I haven't seen it. Okay.
It's pretty much just party games.
All right.
That's all it is.
That's a party game is fine. I don't mind. We could do it Fridays. Why not? It's 90% discounted in my region. Thank you, Bogue. That's cool. That's pretty cheap. I'd buy it for 90% off. Hell, can't be that bad.
At the moment, it's £16 here in the UK.
Wow, that's expensive for a party game. But okay, that's fine.
It's more. I don't know how to explain. You can see for yourself in the video.
I'll check it out. No problem. Joseph Kerwin. Chocolate River is allegory. For Metal Stamper. Metal Stamper. What is that? Metal. I don't know what that is. I wish I could comment on that. Sorry, Joseph.
Apparently, the developers of Fall Guys are actually commies.
I don't know anything about that. I looked at Fall Guys and I can't imagine how that's a fair game because everybody's like moving at the same speed or whatever. It just looks like a flash in the pan fad to me.
I don't know if they are commies or not, but well, it's actually hilarious if they're actually communists and they're actively selling a game for £16 a pop.
Yeah. Here's Bogue. I want Fall Guys Fridays to be a thing. Hey, if this is serious.
Fridays.
Yeah.
No.
Nope.
If I'm gonna play a video game, it's gonna be one that I actually care about.
There's no cowboys. I'm not playing it. Okay.
Listen here, buddy. This is my ranch, and I choose what I want to play here. All right, boy.
What if we had Lego Star Wars Sundays? How about that? You can actually play Lego Star Wars together, which is.
I don't like any of the Lego games.
How dare you? Look, okay, Dunn. The views of Dunn's views do not reflect that of the Smudcasts.
I actually agree with him. I'm not a big fan of those either.
Glib
I think that they're very basic. Basic bitch gaming. Give me a high curve. I need a rocket launcher. I need to be able to double jump. I need to be able to wall run, backflip, do a suicide, knife throw, 360 no scope off of the high tower with the teleport.
Glib views of Star Wars Lego do not reflect that of the Smudcast. And Smud, if you say anything, they will stab you.
All I have to say is that.
It's not that I don't like Star Wars Lego. I don't like Lego games, period.
Ooh, that's an even more edgy opinion. So edgy that you don't like this kid's game.
I do recall hearing that Cyberpunk did take out the wall running and the arm.
Yeah, I was
blades
disappointed about that
because of
very disappointed.
Yeah, well, I don't mind it because they obviously know about quality. They don't want to just pump something out they don't like. At the same time, you're like, that was really cool. I really wanted to be like the stealthy arm blade guy hanging on the walls.
Right. And the wall running thing changes the way that the gameplay operates in general. So my concern about it not being in there means that they didn't have time to develop the levels in that way.
Exactly.
The only good thing that could come out of this if they made the whole game and then like a couple months down the line when they're patching it, they added it back in. But I don't think they'll do that.
Yeah, the same comparison is led to the stealth gameplay in Deus Ex where they didn't think of figuring out how to do all the air ducts or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, we have to do stealth. It's like, oh wait, you didn't figure that out already? Like, oh shit. So yeah,
I'm down to play Halo.
Sure, Halo's awesome.
Co-op and multiplayer. Yeah,
for sure.
I have that. I like more competitive.
Halo
games.
1, right, or Halo 2?
Wingster is correct. Yeah, any of them, any of the MCC games. I have the CE version even. But yeah, no, I'm much more into like I'm a boomer, man. I like Fear. You know what I mean? I like Deus Ex, like Rocket League.
You get a participation prize. How about that? Isn't that amazing?
I threw out all my participation trophies. I had 40 of them from school.
All right, let's get back to fascism here for the next 2 minutes.
That this story would have been written to criticize. I mean, imagine a story where all of the other Gunters only know the basic.
Are they trying to like make symbolism between
that
like
kind
the
of
vow
memorization is what's going to win them
like
the
fascism?
contest?
Is
But
he
our
trying to say like the
protagonist
hand
wins
up
because
vow
he's
is like a
actually learned
fascist
the
thing?
lessons these stories teach and applies them to the puzzles to win. Then the movie could have been about something, but instead, despite being overstuffed with every bit of iconography I know, I have only ever come away from this movie with a profound sense of emptiness. So So if you've watched this video, I've got to believe that you're a fan of science fiction.
We
or
did
maybe
it.
Even...
We're done.
The end of the whole thing was you don't know what fascism is. That was excellent. Thank you.
What's he selling? Skillshare? What is it?
Brilliant. Go to
Skillshare. Learn how to be a school shooter.
Go to https SHITHEAD.FUCKYOU.
What is it? It's brilliant.org.
No, I was taking no, for fuck's sake.
Yay. Well, if you want to become brilliant, I guess, I don't know, go to that website, Just Right, get some money off. See, we're helping out Just Right here, guys. You know, you gotta see all his wonderful sponsors. Yeah, we're helping him out.
Yeah.
If you go to brilliant.org, it says the in big letters, learn to think. Build quantitative skills in math, science, and computer science with fun and challenging interactive exploration.
I want to bet that that's exactly what Just Right said. Script.
I bet you $100 he didn't go to this website at all.
I just gave him a script to read off.
Learn.
It's cool. I had this idea actually a while ago, like iPads where you could have visualizations for math and stuff. I'm sure this will help somebody, but you know, it's just funny to me. Like the educational shilling is how it's a whole industry about how to be smart, how to learn things, and all the lessons are just asinine. Like you're like, what? You can't learn math from a book. You need the visualization for that. What is it? What are we paying for? The animation? Okay.
Well, there are better ways to teach different things, and I bet that over the years, especially the past 3 years, there have been way better ways to teach kids simple math, or even complex math at younger ages.
I'm not convinced of that. I think that the visualizations are actually taking away from people's imagination. I think it's actually bad that people are delivered so many symbols from external sources that they get used to intaking that information from something other than themselves and processing in a way that they're taught to. It's very odd to me. It freaks me out a little.
Places like Skillshare, or I can't remember what the other one is. There's a few of them. Udemy. Oh yeah, Udemy. That's the one I kind of bought. Udemy was actually one of the first. It had one of the first courses I ever had for 3D modeling, and it taught me quite a lot. That it kind of managed to jump me onto quite a good stage of understanding quite quickly. And in terms of speaking from experience when it comes from those kind of learning sites, it's like I don't pay for them now, but I find ways. Life finds a way. Torrents, but yeah, I find them very good, basically paid tutorials. I just don't pay for them. There's nothing wrong with them.
All right. Well, that was just right, guys. It happens every time we watch. We get to the last part of of one of these people's videos, and it's just politics, fascism, sexism, ism, this, that. It's just, I don't know how this operates on a level related to literary criticism or movie criticism or what have you, but it always boils down to that. And in Just Right's case, it's about themes, substance that isn't there in a film that shouldn't have it in the first place.
Another thing, just very quickly, why shouldn't people be able to monetize learning, for instance? Because they're actually going out of the way to create these very well-made, informative tutorials and lessons and lectures. I don't have a problem with them basically selling it online.
I agree, Shiny. I agree. We need to end the public education system and go back to private education because the free market can do much better.
Right, so but they don't. They shouldn't have to do it all for free. It's like if they can make a penny off of it, sure. And this is all the 3D stuff I know. It's stuff that I've taught myself through online resources because I haven't even gone to university yet to study.
I agree. The for-profit system is much better than a state-run system.
In an interview with Shadiversity, which I'm currently still finishing off, he mentions that everything he learned from writing, he actually learned online, which I found pretty interesting. That like all the learning resources you can now find online, and it's a great opportunity for if you take advantage of all the online resources you can find, you could go pretty far with it, and you can learn a lot.
All of Brandon Sanderson's lectures on creative writing are on his YouTube channel. Anybody can look at, where he describes like how to like formulate a plot, how to like formulate a character, like how like you can make a character who's engaging with for the audience.
He's actually really good.
He actually has like
yeah. He actually brought a lot of meaning to the end of the Wheel of Time books and the idea of magic, how to do it properly, and why. So if you like fantasy, he's great. In general, he's pretty good too. I'd say, yeah, he's pretty good across the board. So lots of
insane. His output's insane.
Okay.
He writes like a book a year, and like he writes roughly like several like books that are about the size of the Bible in 3 years, on top of writing his other stuff.
Yeah, no, he's really into writing and reading, and he teaches pretty well. Like his lectures are pretty good. So I kind of see him like, you know, Kurt Vonnegut, sort of like his teachings were sort of like tongue in cheek. Brandon is kind of not in the same vein, but he's a little more practical, a little more facts matter. Get down to writing and do this and that. I think he's more of a workshop kind of guy than he is a lecture hall kind of guy. So I appreciate that about Brandon. But hey guys, you know, if you got writing or any manuscripts or ideas, send them my way. I'm happy to read them for you and critique them. Grammar, what name you like? Doesn't have to be too much. Could be a page, could be 2. We're happy to read them and help you out. So anyway, that was about 3 hours and 16 minutes. Fun times, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Glib, for popping in there. We appreciate it. And Dunn.
Yeah, fuck you, Glib.
Thanks with apostrophe hands.
Everyone's like, no, shut up, Glib. Okay.
Well, no, I don't know, some of them are, you know, it depends. It really
Shut up,
depends.
Glib, you piece of shit. You're nothing more than a cowboy. Cowboys are pathetic. They died out a long time ago.
I'm absolutely self-aware enough to know why somebody would like me and why someone would dislike me and how the interchange works, and I'm right there with you guys. But I just had a message for BreadTube, which was free market capitalism is the only way to fight classism. Anyway.
Thank you, Glib. Thank you, Dunn, for taking.
Capitalism is terrible. Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you, Dunn, for tuning in. Not because you're always busy with your own stream and your own writing, and I know you're busy. And Shiny you're about to be busy, and I know you're working on your other stuff. So fantastic stuff. I appreciate you guys coming in. As always, chat for being fun and answering questions I don't know the answer to very quickly. Appreciate that. Not sure what we're doing next, but thank you for all your suggestions. If you have any more, come to the Discord, leave them there. I always check them out, whether they're blog posts or videos. And we argue over what we should be watching. And we all vote, hopefully, on time. So thanks for tuning in. Talk to you guys soon. Have yourself a great evening.